Stakes heading on in the Coolmore startup rather against the boys. They're starting to load them up. The first race of the day. This is the English Carbine Club Stakes. Let's head to Greg Miles for the call of the first.
Gangland about to come along. Seguro getting ready for the first here today. Now coming along is the Comedian, who's been the best tried in the race. The Comedian, they're racing. The carnival begins. Kidnapped away reasonably, and then he snags right back to the tail. Euphemism was away fast, and also Bawadi, although he's trapped a bit wide. Let's see some paces coming in the early part here from Hotham Heights, who's running to the lead now. So settling down, Hotham Heights from a bunch of horses. The Comedian picking up, trying to get into second placing. He's getting up there, Summit on the rails. And Bawadi coming on 3 wide and 2 lengths then Kidnapped. He's starting to get onto the back of the pack. And Rouge de Guerre back last on the inside. As they swing for home, Hotham Heights, who's had a pretty easy run once he found the lead, is going to straighten up narrowly. From Gangland on the outside, the Comedian called on for his run, and Euphemism can't get a crack at them at the moment. They're followed by Disco Summit, Bawadi. Kidnapped is the widest runner, and he's starting to come home with a pretty powerful run. In fact, he looks to have just raced up and claimed them. Kidnapped has, he dashed to the lead. Disco Summit tries to go with him about a length away, and they've kicked clear. Rouge de Guerre running on, but it's Kidnapped in front of Disco Summit and Rouge de Guerre with 100 to go. It's Kidnapped about a length in front. Disco Summit trying hard, but Kidnapped scores in the first by a length and a half, and a really good win. Beat Disco Summit, Rouge de Guerre, and a break Bawadi. Euphemism, and they're followed by Seguro. The Comedian did absolutely nothing, and Gangland was back there with him. And he's finished towards the tail of the field, and about second last to go over the line is Hotham Heights.
Kidnapped, a very strong winner of the English Carbine Club Stakes, the first race of the day for the Melbourne Cup Carnival here on Derby Day. Karen McAvoy, well, he was just 270. Rouge de Guerre.
A most impressive performance there by Kidnapped. Coming off slow tempos in the back of the pack to win, that's good. What, he gets into a fast run race?
I reckon the track was still fairly soft for the first couple of races yesterday.
To iron out who's going to be in this field and who not. And of course, this next race will determine it.
It could indeed. Well, Kirk Lees is out of the Cup. That was a definite this morning, but a number of these runners are trying to get into the Melbourne Cup. This is the Lexus Stakes over the 2500. Of course, it's been known as the Saab, a number of other races over the years. And what's happening?
Dean, solid favourite is Shocking at $3.80. Light Vision hasn't budged off.
Now Sterling Prince goes into the gates. The well-tried Hume links in for Starthy Katsitas. The outsider Golden Charmer goes into her place now. Here's Dandard coming in for Bart. He's won it 4 times. They go. And Reprisal a little slow. Hume gets away well. Hurang snagged at the start. Sterling Prince away fast, and Shocking is up there. Light Vision, runner-up last year, kicks up to second at the postal lap to go. And it's Sterling Prince, the leader, by 2 lengths to Light Vision, Golden Charmer. And Shocking lobs in 4th on the inside. And then Cat's Fun, Arazu, Naval Escort. A length and a half, Cape Breton. Hume 3 deep at the turn out of the straight, trailed by Hurang. Then there's about a length and a quarter. And Dandard brings up the rear at the 1,000 metres. Sterling Prince, the leader. Light Vision moved up about a length away second. Cat's Fun is third. Golden Charmer at huge odds, still there 4th. 2 lengths away is Shocking on the inside. Runs around him. Britomart and Darazu are off with their moves as the field starts to bunch a bit. Hume is waiting. Cape Breton took off. Dandard made a quick dash. He's up about midfield now as they swing around the home turn. Nothing like a catch, dropped out about 4 lengths last. Light Vision got the Sterling Prince. Britomart on the scene quickly. Joins the leaders around the home turn. And they're followed then by Cape Breton. Cat's Fun in behind them with the Razu. Shocking getting up on the inside. He's starting to make a strong run. 300 to go. Sterling Prince comes back. Again finds the lead from Light Vision. But Shocking is finishing brilliantly along the inside. Further back, here comes Hume out wide. But Shocking right over on the fences, dashed away. Hume running on strongly into second place. At the 100 though. Shocking 3 lengths in front as it's shot to bits. And Shocking scored, eased up. That's a very good win. Beat Hume 2.5. 3 lengths Arazu. Close fourth Sterling Prince or Naval Escort. A break then Light Vision. Rest have finished in a bunch. Nothing like a catch, picked up a few. Then 6 o'clock news. Golden Charmer. Britomart would be about last in the Lexus.
Very good ride. Michael Rod coming round on the inside there with Shocking and taking out the Lexus or the Saab, whatever you like to call it these days. Hume has finished in second placing, but this is a really nice horse. Still a stallion too, and the Lawrence Eels colours, the Hubagotchi colours. By Street Cry as well. He's taken out the Lexus, beating Arasu or Hume, and then Aratsu, as we mentioned. You've got the trifecta there, Shane.
Well, I mentioned that Mark would be smiling. There'll be two other trainers smiling too. Of course, Jake wouldn't be unhappy to see shocking win like that. It franks the Elko Pop form big time. And Danny O'Brien.
The Lexus Stakes coming back to scale. There is $3.90, $1.80 are the Inglis interims. Hume paid $1.90 and Aratsu paid $2.90. That wraps up the second race of the day. The next is the Wakeful.
Well, that was great. Better sectionals than Faint Perfume. Okay, that's a filly. Better sectionals than Viewed at the end of 2,500 metres, and that puts them in line with Master O'Reilly and co. I thought it was a terrific cup trial. It does highlight the Elko Pop form again. There was 2 kilos between them in the Herbert Power. There's only 1 kilo between them in the Melbourne Cup, but he goes in off that with a good chance.
Yeah, most definitely, Clarkey, and it was deserving of Mark Cavan, who's had probably a tough time with, of course, Maldivan going to miss, and then, of course, Shemaline Warrior this week for the Derby. But yeah, look, all you can say is you just keep thinking of Alcopop, who absolutely blew shocking away, and I think only meets at a kilo worse or something going into the Melbourne Cup. I thought Hume, the Queenslander from BJ Smith's stable, was outstanding. Was 3 deep for the first 900.
Impressive, similar path, I guess, to maybe Better at 2006, who won the Kunji. Shocking ran second in the Kunji, then went to the Saab and onto the Cup and ran third. Maybe Better, of course. I'll be very surprised if he's not in the finish of the Cup. Shocking. I think he's going super. Hume is just up.
Once I got through, he just exploded.
Well, that's a good sign, wasn't it? Going to 2 miles, acceleration at a mile and a half.
That's right, Bruce. And this is what this bloke has. I ride him most of his fast work, and it doesn't matter how much work Mark pumps into him, he'll just keep going. He just keeps going. So I don't think the 2 miles are going to be much of a problem. I just hope the experience, he's experienced enough to handle. And so I don't think the 2 miles are going to be much of a problem. I just hope the experience, he's experienced enough to handle the whole occasion.
I know you'll be cheering for him without being.
You were saying to me earlier on this morning, this ran considerably faster time than they did in the Derby.
Well, they ran 3 seconds faster than the Derby, and this horse is, look, you can't rule this horse out in the Melbourne Cup. He's on the quick backup, which you may need. He's got a sense of timing about him. It probably emphasises the Alco Pop form, who Alco Pop has had his measure the past few starts, but at least this horse is there, and he looks to be in terrific form. He charges to the line here, and
that's the good thing, isn't it? The way he hit the line. I mean, I'm not worried so much about the time being faster because losers set times.
And the other thing, it's the Flemington angle. He's 2 from 2, two dominant Flemington.
That's an impressive bit, the way he hit the line.
Well, and that's his first that it runs 3 seconds faster. That tells you also how slow they went in the Derby. Right. And let's not forget, Hume is a very, very good galloper, and he was racing away from the balance of the field as well, and Shocking was racing away from him. I tell you what, I love him. Yeah, like he's hard to beat. He's hard to beat there on Tuesday.
I give him a chance. I normally don't give horses that win that race much of a...
Wakeful Stakes. Well, this has been a great race heading on towards the VRC Oaks, hasn't it? And at this stage, run for an hour at 2:30 on the tote. And on course, round about the same. I think we've just got a Redute's choice in this. Faint Perfume, well, she certainly has the Bart polish on her. His horses.
The big odds for her coming in. Jolly Breeze is about to come up into the stalls. In she goes. Fainter off at 3,000 metres. Run for Nara jumping evenly with them on the inside. Flirtatious slow and Sav's Bell went back. And Montfleury and Jolie Breeze in the similar colours are both going forward to join Fomalite, and Melito's just off the pace, settling down in 4th placing. Then came Silence Around in behind the Monchelieri. Couple of lengths further back is Faint Perfume and Run for Nara. The Favourite's trying to break the field up as she comes down the side at the 1,000 metres. At the halfway, she's opened up about 3 lengths on Jolie Breeze. A length and a half Fomalite, a length further back Melito travelling well, then Silence Around. Monchelieri a neck further back, and 2 lengths then to Faint Perfume. Run for Nara as they go to the 800 metres and sweep towards the home turn. Sav's Bell second last, and Flirtercia. Now the lead's been whittled away. Jolie Breeze has moved up outside Montfleury. 2 lengths Fomalite. Melito couldn't have had a better run. Monchelieri's right behind her. Silence Around. Blue colours, gold cap, buried back on the fence. Faint Perfume creeping into the race. She started to come home. Sav's Bell tries to follow her. Run for Nara temporarily in traffic, and Flirtercia last. Inside the 400 metres now. Jolie Breeze has gone to the lead. Here's Melito, Faint Perfume, and Silence Around's getting right up on the inside. Run for Nara looked to be a little too far back. Faint Perfume out of the middle of the course goes to the lead from Melito. Silence Around and Run for Nara. The unbeatable Bart Cummings has Faint Perfume racing away to win the Wakeful by 3 lengths, and it was easy. She might do it in the Oaks as well. Silence Around second, Melito third. And then Run for Nara and Savsville. A break in traffic and Fletcher last. Inside the 400 metres now. Jolie Breeze has gone to the lead. Here's Melito, Faint Perfume. And Silence Around's getting right up on the inside. Run for Nara looked to be a little too far back. Faint Perfume out in the middle of the course goes to the lead from Melito. Silence Around and Run for Nara. The unbeatable Bart Cummings has Faint Perfume racing away to win the Wakeful by 3 lengths, and it was easy. She might do it in the Oaks as well. Silence Around to finish.
As Greg said, Bart, yet again, and she'll be an odds-on favourite, I reckon, for the Crown Oaks on Thursday. It's Bart's 13th Wakeful. His first was Lightfingers in 1964, and his most recent Perfume, she'd actually out-galloped So You Think at Moonee Valley in the lead up to the Cox Plate, Richard.
They won't beat her in the Oaks, this filly. You saw the way she cruised up outside them. She was the last horse to come off the bridle and the last horse for the reins to go loose. And when Michael Rod said go here, well, she put a space in them. She was working away from them at the end. The longer they had gone, the further she would have beaten them by. Well, and the Oaks, 2,500 metres, she'll beat them by further.
Well, that's 2,000.
On Derby Day, and she's paid $370 and got out to pay $130 for those who backed her.
She's a very good staying pedigree and performs like a good stayer, and I think she got a very good chance in the Oaks on Thursday.
Well, she certainly won't.
13th win for Bart in the race. His last was back in 96 with the Nendry, who is the grandmother of that horse. That was absolutely awesome. Invoked the Mercy Rule at the 600. Had them completely covered, towed them. $1.80, $1.90 now. That's good odds off that.
Yes, well, he's won the Oaks 8 times. I think it'll be 9 come Thursday. Winner completely dominant. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th were all okay. But she was pretty awesome, wasn't she?
She was going to win a long way from home, wasn't she? She just canted up. Michael Rod, he's been riding in good form, Roddy, has he?
Yeah. And here she is, favourite for the Oaks. Here's the market with Sporting Bet Australia, $1.95. Take it, Val.
Really faint Perfume. Well,
Yes, that's just odds on. And over the line in the Oaks, unless something happens to it, which when touch wood, it's
well, she ran faster than the McKinnon.
it's over the line.
Yeah.
Hey, and
Stakes, the Group 1 here. First of the 4 on the program, and the filly on course. She's out to 750 Irish Lights, but up the top, Demerit, $4.80. He's just been wound out as well. Much shorter on the top, Demerit, $3.40. The Caulfield Guineas Prelude winner. Feeling ready? Let's talk about these horses from the top. We are around 10 minutes away from start time. Feeling ready? Well, Magic Millions winner, Gold.
Peter Snowden, they won the first with Kidnapped. Kieran won this race on Innovation Girl in 2002. And there he is. He was a little bit of a handful getting down to the start. I think the crowd got him a little fired up, and Kieran took his time. They're jumping well to the outside in company with Headway. Thomas Free dropping in behind them. They're all going towards the inside here. Irish Lights have jumped away okay on the inside, headed by Paprika. Honest Truth wanting to over race in the early stages is up there at the yellow cap, and Demerit's moved up on the outside of him to be right with the speed. In behind them, King Pulse wide around Delago, Bolton more than great, and they're being followed closely in the field then by Love Conquers All. Tickets buried away on the rails, and they're being trailed then. Behind them is Headway, Wanted on the outside, being trailed then by Shell Scrapers a long way back in the field. Telspree back towards the end, and Feeling Ready was last. On the rails, Paprika, and in the centre then is Demerit the favourite, with Honest Truth between them. Delago Bolt deeper out, more than great waiting, and Irish Lights behind the speed. King Pulse starting to work home, and the rest were headed then by Wanted, and then Telspree. It's Demerit at the 200. King Pulse goes with him. They've got to Irish Lights getting up on the inside. King Pulse is racing greenly, but he takes over the running narrowly. Headway's coming home strongly. King Pulse from Headway. Headway dives on the outside and made it very close. Nothing between them, and Shell Scrape is between those two, and Tickets over on the rail. What a finish to the Group 1. Irish Lights just off them from Wanted, and then Demerit didn't quite finish off the race. Followed just behind those then More Than Great, Love Conquers All.
Bob of the head, isn't it? Now,
Came, and the rest were headed then by Wanted, and then Telspree. It's Demerit at the 200. King Pulse goes with him. They've got to Irish Lights getting up on the inside. King Pulse is racing greenly, but he takes over the running narrowly. Headway's coming home strongly. King Pulse from Headway. Headway doubles on the outside and made it very close. Nothing between them, and Shell Scrape is between those two, and Tickets over on the rail. What a finish.
and she just stretches her neck out right now. And this might be, she's got it. Headway's got it.
by the narrowest of margins.
Above
Geez,
Headway.
Geez, that's a mighty performance, and that's Shell Scout.
We've had pretty close to a three-way dead heat and just marked down the run of tickets there. He was rocketing along the inside. I think he's got up and run fourth. It's been a big run. He's been beaten.
Coles, $5.90 and Shell Scrape, $3.80 headway.
Between those two.
Well, she's had 10 starts, never finished further back than fourth. She ran up in the Golden Slip, and now she's a Group 1 winner of the Coolmore with no whip. Elle Nolan nudging King Pole. Shell Scrape didn't have much luck from the start. Tickets didn't have much luck. Feeling really pulled up lane. Paprika was eased down, vetted with a slower than slow recovery rate. Sorry. I think that you're talking about there, where she charges through to nail the Coolmore.
Yeah, she's a courageous little thing. She belies her size, and she did a hell of a job.
Of all the horses in that race, she's most deserving of a Group 1. She's raced at that elite level from last autumn, and it was deserving she got her Group 1 today.
So there's not much of
in Australia at the moment. If you look at the depth of his team and the variety of horses that he's got there, he's got the best team in Australia, and he's got them firing. And I tell you what, it's a lovely look. She deserved that win. She's a very good filly. If I was offered the choice of the two, as a racehorse only, I know, forget breeding, I'd take the second horse. Jeez, he was impressive.
He's very good. He was very good.
Well, that was only his second start, and look, he was exposed early, and he had to sort of, really tough it out there. And you're talking about genuine class.
Monitors there, a track upgrade to a good 3. So
for the Super Tab market for one of our features of the day, the Group 1 McKinnon Stakes, and of course, second favourite there is Viewed 520. He's already won the Caulfield Cup. This favourite, and I know he's a favourite of horses of yours, of Galloper, you've been following virtually since the start of his career.
Rangi Rangdu, $2.90. Well,
quite happy at that price.
Yep, Viewed now $5.50 on the tote, $7.50 on course, as I mentioned, and heading towards the Melbourne Cup. Well, we've heard Efficient. He seemed to be one of his biggest opponents in the Melbourne Cup for this year. He's out. So Kirkley's another one that's fallen by the wayside. We heard rumours about changing of the guard. We've heard, no, he is going to pay up apparently. And, of course, we've got the barrier picture of health. He looks the best I've ever seen him.
Here's the fun. Leaders at Group 1. There's a bit of trouble with one of them here. Have been backed out. They're drawn either side of Zipping. So I think the trouble is with Zipping here in the...
Horse is stressed. He won't run for sure. That is for definite. But he's really stressed.
Well,
he's
John, not only won't he be running, he won't be running Tuesday as well. I mean, this is one of Lloyd Williams's horses.
I wouldn't think so. He's really stressed.
Well, they put in a lot of hard work to get these horses there on these big days and whatnot. And
now, they're often racing at the 2,000 metres. Viewed immediately snagging to the rear with Master O'Reilly. Sir Slick being sealed out of the barrier stalls. Retains the lead from Drumbeats. Reggie Rangdu up outside Miss Marin. And then there's about a length and a half away to Chima de Triomphe, who's putting himself in the picture early. With the blinkers on, he's going up 3 wide to be right near the speed. Racing to win next with Scenic Shot on his outside. O'Reilly is last below the 1,200 metres, and Chima de Triomphe leads by 2.5 lengths. Slick is second. Drumbeats on the outside is holding down third, and then Rangi Rangdu creeping up fourth on the outside of Miss Marin. He just wants to go a bit faster, Rangi. In behind those horses then is Scenic Shot, followed by Racing to Win. Viewed a neck away on the outside of him, gave the leader about 7 lengths. And then came Mandela Newport and Master O'Reilly. At the 800 metres now, Chima de Triomphe is leading narrowly from Drumbeats. In behind them, Sir Slick. Rangi Rangdu is in 4th placing. Scenic Shot deep around him, followed then by Miss Marin. They're trailed then by Mandela, putting in a run around the outside of Viewed and Racing to Win as the field bunches up. Just behind those horses, pulled out wide, Master O'Reilly and Newport. Into the straight, Chima de Triomphe narrowly from Drumbeats. Rangi Rangdu on the outside. Scenic Shot is starting to join in, followed then by Miss Marin. Racing to Win. And then Sir Slick on the rail, and further back was Viewed. Master O'Reilly still at the end. Scenic Shot, he's raced up to Rangi Rangdu. Paid to him. Scenic Shot racing a length and a half in front of Rangi Rangdu. Drumbeats Miss Marin, and then came Viewed, but it's all Scenic Shot. And Scenic Shot scored by 2 lengths on the line to Miss Marin. Viewed a lovely run third. Close up is Racing to Win, Newport, Master O'Reilly out wider, and then Drumbeats and Rangi Rangdu. Probably the 2,000.
There's a lot to like about his run in the Turnbull Stakes, and again, a lot to like about Scenic Shot's run in the Cox Plate. He was 8th in the McKinnon Stakes in 2007. He actually ran in the Melbourne Cup. He's not in the Cup this year, but the 3rd horse is in the Cup this year. And that's where Galilee finished back in 1966 rather famously and went on to win the Cup.
Scenic coming back to scale. 5:13.1 are the numbers. Number 2 was officially fourth on Racing to Win. 5:13.
Up is Racing to Win, Newport, Master O'Reilly out wide.
Well, he goes past $2 million in prize money, Cynic Shot. Well done to Shane Scriven and Dan Len Morton teaming up there. Miss Marin, very good. Viewed, outstanding, got galloped on. Drum Beats didn't finish the race through Brisbane the last couple of seasons and chalking up there, and I deserve a here for Scrivo and the team.
Come on after a Cox Plate run, so, mate, he's tough. I love him.
Good on you, Shane. Now, the 3 cup runners here, Steve, they've all gone well. Master O'Reilly along with Newport, whose sectionals were best of the race, and Viewed, of course.
Yes, they all pretty much ran the same last 600 splits. Those 3 horses, they all ran very well. Viewed and Master O'Reilly are fairly obvious, and I went back and had a look at
the race. Duff, it looked as though it was going to win or be in the finish a fair way out.
Yeah, look, he had him covered. He's a good tough horse. He ran well in the Cox Plate. He loves to travel outside horses, this fellow, and he dug in. So it was a deserved win for him. Oh, we're all jumping up and down and rubbing our hands together. Oh, look at Viewed. How good did he go? But
Well, it did go well.
Well, I reckon Newport went better than us.
I was wondering you want it back in the Melbourne Cup, Duff.
Well, have a look at the weights in the Melbourne. Let's just wait for race. Look at Newport, the grey horse.
I'll do.
Look at the grey one last.
I'll do. I'll have
This is a
50.
sprint, huh?
I'll have $50 with you. The Viewed.
Oh yeah, that's the odds you like too.
Even money.
You want to take even money? One's 100 to 1 and one's favourite.
It's ridiculous.
Ronnie, you hit the nail on the head when you said it was a sprint home. And if you go and look at Viewed's previous performances, he does not sprint home.
Run through the place there, the grey.
He gradually improves as he can, and to where he gets to with the opportunity to finish off his particular event. Look, he's a very good chance. Corey, couple of
Derby Day, the feature race is coming up, the Amy Victoria Derby. This is just a wonderful race, of course, for the 3-year-olds. And Shamaline Warrior, well, he's out, unfortunately, but we've got some top-class 3-year-olds to go round here. Extra Zero looked absolutely super here in the yard. I can see why David Hayes is pretty confident about him. Is very much in the market. Monaco Consul, $4.60 on the tote. On course, he's $4 without moving yet.
Yeah, he's rock solid. And Rock Ferry, who opened favourite at 3.8, he's got out to 4.60. News, he's the best back runner by far here. He's 4.60 into 4.20. He's taken over as favourite, and he will be our sporting.
Back they're off in the Derby. And the starter caught them pretty well. Rock Ferry being snagged right towards the end, and our Heir Apparent went back. And first out, One More No More. He leads from his stablemate Gathering, Viking Legend, and Southern Sky was 4th. They're followed by Princem, moving up on the outside of Monaco Consul. Extra Zero, Cometage Close, our Heir Apparent, and the favourite Rock Ferry, last of the 10. So they today. A length away in the field, then Southern Sky. Viking Legend was 4th. A length away then is Monaco Consul from Princem, Extra Zero. 2 lengths Cometage Close and Rock Ferry, and our Heir Apparent at the tail of the field. So One More No More comes down the side of the Derby, 1,000 metres to go. He leads by 2 lengths to Gathering, a length Southern Sky. Viking Legends had a good run. Monaco Consul a length further back, followed by Princem, Extra Zero, Cometage Close. Rock Ferry was next. Bowman riding a really patient race, still second last, and our Heir Apparent. 700 left to go in the Derby now. Here come some runs. Gathering as the first one to go and challenge his stablemate. One More No More. Viking Legend moved up 3 wide. They're followed then as they swing for home. Southern Sky waiting for an inside run, which looks like coming for sure. Monaco Consul comes with a run from Princem. Then Extra Zero. Rock Ferry now starting to work his way into the race. But Southern Sky railed through and tackled. One More No More. Viking Legend is there. Here comes Extra Zero from Monaco Consul. Southern Sky in front, Gathering. Viking Legend, Extra Zero joining in, and Monaco Consul now. Monaco Consul raced up with Extra Zero. They come clear. Monaco Consul going home the better. Draws away, and Monaco Consul won the Derby by a length. Extra Zero. Viking Legend 2.5 third, and then Southern Sky. Rock Ferry didn't come on from One More No More. Princem Gathering. Our Heir Apparent never a chance, and Cometage Close now. Monaco Consul raced it with Extra Zero. They come clear. Monaco Consul going home the better. Draws away, and Monaco Consul won the Derby by a length. Extra Zero. Viking Legend 2.5 third, and then Southern Sky.
Well, he was nominated for the Cox Plate. Francesco Comani told us before he'd had a start, and he's won the Derby, a second Derby for Michael Maroney. He won it back in 1997 with Second Coming. but this bloke looks like he's the real deal. Extra Zero, terrific.
Happy with what he's done today. It was a good ride.
It's by High Chaparral, the same sire, Francesca, as So You Think. Now, you must have seen High...
Last year, beating the lip in the Melbourne Cup. I know this is no consolation, but it's not far off it, Corey.
Oh, no, it's great. Finally got one of the big ones down here in Melbourne. He's just perfect. He was really, really good. He travelled sweet. Lost the bridle a little bit.
Well, Moroney, that is a great training performance by you.
Yeah, look, we thought we knew our horse. You know, I'd helped a lot by Paul. From the time we sort of got him across here to Australia, he always said to me, look, I'm sure you can train him to get this without having to give another run. And we train him a little bit English style. I sent him out with a pacemaker.
Exactly right. Yep. Second coming, one of the Victoria Derby winners. He now has the two now, Mike Moroney. Monaco Consul, 460, 180. The English Interims, Extra Zero, 260. And Viking Legend, $1.
New Zealand factor, they come over here. The first two runs are the best. It still must have been tough to resist the temptation to give him another run. I mean, it's a long, long time since a horse has won the Victoria Derby off that sort of break.
Yeah, you're right. Look, if you go back through history, and a lot of people do, fear these horses and that, but we were worried, you know, the Derby where it is, 2,500 metres, these sort of horses we don't want to overtax. We have a high opinion of the horse, and Paul said to me, look, I'm pretty sure you can do it. You can.
Start number 6, second Group 1 in a career already. So much to come from this horse at Monaco Consul by High Chaparral, emerging the last 2 weeks with So You Think. I think don't think there's any yearlings on the ground for...
He thought, well, game on now and let's go on with it.
That's how it looked too, because he was off the bit a long way out, and he showed terrific character, didn't he? Because it was his first run in a month, and like you say, he had to chase a long way out from the 700, I'd suggest, and he rallied late like a real top liner.
He did. Corey, he seems to run pretty well, and, well, we've spoken off air before. The Patnack pair, I don't know where they go, but I was of the view they were very, very promising, but they can be ruined now.
Rock Ferry?
Oh, look, I reckon the race was all tempo related. A couple of them things out the back, Rock Ferry and Our Heir Apparent, they had no hope the way the race was run. And I think the race for the...
Hot Danish is at $5.50, Neroli or Neroli. 6.50 blinkers on, 5 and 6 are out. Lady Lynette at $9. Tuttle Cove 61. Emblem of Liberty at 41. Bella Veloz is at $71. The favourite's the girl, Typhoon Tracy from PJ Moody, looking for a double. $2.10, dominant favourite. Goldwater at 9. Glow Lamp 70.
To 1 in the space of 12 hours.
Exactly right. And Faint Perfume, $1.70 in some markets for the Oaks. Coming in from around 420 after a dominant win in the...
Way and racing at the 1,600 metres. Typhoon Tracy jumping well. Oh, Hot Danish has missed the start. And she settles last. Jolly Shinju first to ping out. Goldwater away fast. There's Typhoon Tracy coming over. She's posted 3 wide at the moment. 2 lengths, Emblem of Liberty. Hot Danish ripping through the field. Gets up 5th on the inside. Favourite still caught wide. They're followed further back then by Subtle Cove on the outside at the 1,200 metres from Valiant. Jolie Shinju had the lead. Goldwater second, 1,000 metres to go. Typhoon Tracy eventually eased out of that speed battle. She burned a bit of petrol. She's 3 lengths third. Hot Danish right behind her. Emblem of Liberty a further length and a half away. And then there's 4 lengths break on this next bunch of horses. Subtle Cove, Glow Lamp round the outside and Valiant of a loss. 1 narrowly. Zarita picking up some ground from Lady Lynette and Messenger last. Coming around the turn, less than 600 to go. Jolie Shinju headed by Goldwater. Typhoon Tracy poised for a run. Right behind her, Emblem of Liberty. Hot Danish on the inside. They've swung into the straight and further back is Subtle Cove. Zarita pulled out wide at the 400. Typhoon Tracy kicked away. She's 2-3 lengths in front now. Here comes Zarita. Hot Danish is boxing on, followed by Subtle Cove and Lady Lynette. Typhoon Tracy hits past the 200 by 3 or 4. Nolan pulled the whip. Zarita boxing on narrowly. Lady Lynette. But it's all Typhoon Tracy. Look at her go. Typhoon Tracy makes the best of them. Scored by 4 lengths, Lady Lynette. Zarita and Neroli and a bobber for third. Hot Danish was next in, and then Subtle Cove, Glow Lamp. They come in at long intervals. Further back is Messenger past home. Right behind her, Emblem of Liberty. Hot Danish on the inside. They've swung into the straight and further back is Subtle Cove. Zarita pulled out wide at the 400. Typhoon Tracy kicked away. She's 2-3 lengths in front now. Here comes Zarita. Hot Danish is boxing on, followed by Subtle Cove and Lady Lynette. Typhoon Tracy hits past the 200 by 3 or 4. Nolan pulled the whip. Zarita boxing on narrowly. Lady Lynette. but it's all Typhoon Tracy. Look at her go. Typhoon Tracy makes a mess of them, scored by 4 lengths, Lady Lynette. Zarita and Neroli Bobber for third. What?
She's outstanding. She won a race here in March, and she reminded us a bit of Sunline, just her dominance over other mares. Now, she doesn't look like Sunline, but she's got a similar pattern of racing, near the pace and dominant. That's in a mare's race.
She absolutely crushed them here today. Absolutely crushed them. She had every reason to get beaten. They posted her out 3 deep. She was sitting on top of a hot pace. Most of the leaders that went with her, they're back in the ruck. They couldn't keep going at all. She kept going and put an...
Starts, that's her 7th win, and she's had the 2 minor placings too. There are the English interims. Let's have...
Well, that's just awesome to make them look second rate in the Group 1. She's got the Premier Sydney Group 1 for the fillies and mares in the Coolmore. Now she's got the Premier Melbourne Group 1 for the fillies and mares. And she's obviously at the absolute peak of her game. Pete, Typhoon Tracer, will you throw it in again next Saturday?
No, made sure the farrier pulled the hind shoes off her this morning to take any temptation away. She's pulled up very well, but she's had that sort of jig in a campaign already where we've altered back from the plate path to this, and then to try and reignite her again for next Saturday, I don't think it'll be fair on her.
It was breathtaking, wasn't it? People may disagree or agree, but I reckon the second best and third best performing mares of the last month are Lady Lynette and Zarita. Don't undersell Lady Lynette. And Zarita's won the feature mares race at Pretty Valley, and Typhoon Tracy is toyed with it.
Well, the margin says it all, Rich, doesn't it?
She's top draw. We saw that when she came to sit. I know she had like the lightweight in the Coolmore, but she was, I think she was immature still. Pete, she's still developing.
Mare? Well, she'd have to be the best mare in Australia without a doubt. She proved it there. She's just won the big Group 1 there, and she didn't beat them. She absolutely destroyed them.
Embarrassed them.
She's got tactical speed. It was a lovely ride. He slotted in there from the wide barrier 1-1. Wouldn't have mattered. She could have sat 4 deep and beat this lot. And when I say beat this lot,
these are the best.
These are the best around.
The best mares around.
Exactly.
And she's just absolutely given them a donkey licking.
Maybe a little bit disappointing. You know, Hot Danish began awkwardly too.
Not herself.
You know, she just hasn't brought her A game to Melbourne, unfortunately. I reckon they rolled the dice the first time down here, pulled the wrong rein. Nothing's gone right ever since. She just hasn't really performed. Neroli, again, blinkers on for the first time, drawn inside. I thought it was still a good run, but
they're in another race.
I know, they're in another world. You're spot on there.
Terfontaine, magnificent looking horse. This one, a 5-year-old stallion by Johannesburg. He's the family of Hit the Roof. He's going to be hard to beat too. Wasn't really suited by that.
It's First Command of late 2, 9, 6 and 1. Something to beat it, but they can't. And the money's going on number 2, First Command, 260 back into 250. Very tight on the tote. It's where most of the money is going, and why not? As I said, the only time he's been beaten since February is by a horse that you and I both have a lot of time for. Silent.
Exactly.
If he is 25, it might not be all over for him. 5 o'clock sitting for First Command. Just seemed a little awkward out of the barrier stalls. Olenana, an absolutely fabulous jump away. Okay, Ab Fab easing over their heels as the field splits into 2 divisions in the early part. And on this side, it's a clear leader out there, Master Assassin, going out in front as they settle down from Wasted Emotions. News Alert just in behind them. First Command, who hadn't jumped well, Shadow Ways, and they're being trailed then by News Alert and Absolutely Fabulous. And over on the inside, as they come along to the 600-metre mark, it's Red Element with a pretty long lead, and he's in front by about 2 to 3 lengths over Mr. Slick, and just in behind them is Eagle Falls. And they were being followed by Playwright and Secret Flyer last of the flat division. On the grandstand side now, and Shadowways out wide on the course and raced up, and he's gone up with First Command, who's travelling okay now. Wasted Emotions, Terfontaine starting to put in a really strong run. They go to the 200 metres here, and it's Terfontaine racing past First Command, and Eagle Falls leads over on the inside. Eagle Falls on the inside, Terfontaine this side. They're going to the line together, and on the inside, Eagle Falls wins it from Terfontaine. Absolutely fabulous or Secret Flyer. They're on opposite sides. It's almost impossible to tell for third. And then News Alert, Wasted Emotions, Olenana, First Command. Well, that start didn't help him. He was on the grandstand side. And back towards the end is Master Assassin, and Shadowways is about last in.
David Hayes with Eagle Falls. David's had 2 winners, 11 seconds and 5 thirds in the last 5 years on Derby Day. Remember, he won remarkably 6 races when he first started off as a trainer on this.
Horse, isn't he? Eagle Falls taking out the Salinger by Hassanet. He's had 11 starts now. That's his 6th win, so he's got a great strike rate. For told through the Melbourne Cup in 1982, Eagle Falls 660, 210, Terfontaine 240, and Absolutely Fabulous $2.60.
Talking about horses deserving big wins, he does. He's had a great preparation. Eagle Falls. Winkers came off yesterday. Oliver stayed aboard, happy to go inside, wins. Terfontaine's had a great campaign, absolutely fabulous. Not much luck, jumped away a touch awkward, too good.
Well, his run last time, Steve, was outstanding. Remember in the Caulfield Sprint, they absolutely canned it. He was climbing over their backs, doing his best work late. And no big day goes past without that bloke, Damien Oliver, at least being in there somewhere.
And David Hayes, of course.
Exactly.
And as it turned out, of course, they didn't run quicker than the 3-year-olds,
no.
Which again is another stamp for that 3-year-old crop.
There was a bet type there yesterday. Would they go quicker than the Salinger? They didn't.
News Alert and Secret Flyer also ran well. The first 6 there were all pretty solid performances. And I think First Command that...
A bad horse. They're gone with the roughie, Brian Bo's gift.
Fist of Fury comes in. Exultastic is the next one to move up into the stall. So majority of the field is ready. Fist of Fury comes in. Exultastic is the next one to move up into the stall. So majority of the field is ready. McClintock, Derby Day attendance of 108,178. And the last on the program, Rhino Chaser as usual, slow to move, Fast Futures back there with Largo Lad. Walking or Dancing was running at the start. Lands in front of McClintock and kicking up is Killerton along the inside, trying to hold his place clear of Brian Bo's gift as McClintock finds the lead. There followed past the 800 to Fast Future, and then came Largo Lad and Rhino Chaser. McClintock up towards the 600 by 2 kiloton. Fist of Fury did some work. He gets up handy to the speed when they swing around the turn. Royal Ida just in behind the pace. Chasm out very wide. They're followed then by Walking or Dancing within about 4 of the leader, and then Triple Honour and Sniper's Bullet from Exceltastic. Centennial Park a fair way back trying to weave through. Kiloton getting up on the inside to tackle McClintock, who still has the lead. Triple Honour erratic behind them from Fist of Fury. Sniper's Bullet running up along the inside. Royal Ida producing a run down the outside. Still McClintock in front here from Royal Ida starting to close. Sniper's Bullet's getting the run. McClintock still in front. Centennial Park bursts through. Random, I think he might have got there. Centennial Park in a photo with McClintock. Now, Walking or Dancing is up there for 3rd with Sniper's Bullet. What a blanket finish. Triple Honour just off them. He raced pretty erratically, and then followed by Royal Ida, loomed menacingly. He didn't as one of the last to go over the line.
He has got up Centennial Park, and Simon Marshall, you have soared a few in. Oh, McClintock, that's the longest straight of all time. He was never going to win by much, but he was always sort of half hanging on, wasn't he?
He's a very hard horse to get past, McClintock. He just keeps giving and giving, but off the heels and with the little cuddled run behind, he had enough energy, Centennial Park, to just peel out, had the last crack at McClintock. And poor McClintock trying his heart out, trying to hold him off, but just can't.
You
just
little guilty. And 8 Royal Ida, 1 Sniper's Bullet and 8 Royal Ida. I was all set to tell you that Ollie had got up and made a 3-way dead heat of the Jockeys Challenge, but now...
One away from Rose Hill for Centennial Park, and David Payne striking a blow there. He's had lots of knee problems.
Moving in beautifully for race 6 at Ascot, Paul Harvey on the short price favourite. And we head to the track, and Darren
Really looking forward to this race today, the appearance of Waratah's Secret, the son of Oratorio. All eyes will be on Waratah's Secret. They're racing. Dino Mac got the best of the start, but Black Nijinsky's looking for the lead, and Harvey's going to send Waratah's Secret through between them. And the favourite quickly races to the front from Black Nijinsky's going forward in front of Zentrate. Red Hot Choice ridden along. God Has Spoken 3rd from last, and then Hello Well Express on the rail, and still last of all Thorn Dancer. Harvey hasn't flinched a muscle yet. At the 400, coming into the home straight, Black Nijinsky's trying to put a bit of pressure on Waratah's Secret. Waratah's Secret goes to work. Harvey goes for the whip. Black Nijinsky sticks with him. Black Nijinsky, Waratah's Secret from Dino Mac and the Corporation, but now he digs in Waratah's Secret. He hits overdrive, gets away from Black Nijinsky and Dino Mac. The Corporation late, but Waratah's Secret wins it again. He remains unbeaten after 4. Waratah's Secret scored from the Corporation. Dino Mac was there.
Operation. And it's pretty...
Or was it the Nolan Moody combination? But my head is spinning around with the decision not to put Vigor in the cup. It's a 12-1 chance. He's on the 3rd line. Why isn't he in the race?
Well, and missing out in the Melbourne Cup because of his weight. He'll miss the ride on Shocking. Here's the $11 chance. Viewed favourite with Sporting Bet. Popular call for Bard over Alco Pop. Popular call for everybody else. Roman Emperor for Bard at 850. Shocking 11. Bang on market call here, isn't it?
Now, Corey, you're aboard the very impressive winner yesterday of the Lexus Stakes. Shocking.
Yes, very happy to pick up the ride. I was sitting on the fence there for a while. I was actually booked for Vigor, but he didn't make it into the field.
Chance in the Melbourne Cup, and he's not a scratch yesterday with the view that there thought it was a strong chance of sneaking into the Cup. But
Well, that's rolling the dice.
Rolling the dice.
I mean, trainers do that all the time, and I don't blame Danny O'Brien for doing that.
No, not at all.
He rolled the dice, came up snake eyes.
Now,
you remove those powers. You've got to remove those powers. Everyone has got to know from the time you nominate your horse how you get into that race. And there shouldn't be an avenue for a committee to change that field, and that makes no arguments then.
Well, if they didn't use it yesterday...
The details with Viewed, Drawing Barrier 9, Bart Cummings and Brad Rawiller. Its current sports bet is TAB Sports Bet at $5.50.
It's always the best guide to a Melbourne Cup. He won it. He went up in weight. He's a big, strong horse. He's got 58 kilos in the Melbourne Cup. I can't see that even worrying him. He's drawn beautifully in 9.
You can't knock him, and I think he's going better than last year, to tell you the truth.
Dom.
Thanks, Graham. Yes, well, Viewed owns the two highest rating performances coming into this year's Melbourne Cup. This one here you're watching now from last year. And in this race last year, it was the fastest sectional times early in a Melbourne Cup in the time I've been clocking them for 25 years. And Viewed followed this hectic speed, took off at the 700, hit the front at the top of the straight, and still fought off the back markers. His performance in the Caulfield Cup was very interesting. I have one comment to make about him that's a little bit of a negative, is that in both of those performances, which were extremely valuable performances, he was coming off the back of a series of unplaced runs. And in the Melbourne Cup last year, he had spent no energy coming into the race. In the Caulfield Cup this year, he had spent no energy until he came into the race. It's not the case here. He's expended energy in the Caulfield Cup, and he's had the extra run now in the McKinnon. I think, however, he is the most wonderful stayer in the country at the moment, and he deserves to be his place in the first two in the market.
If I can... Number 6, this is Roman Emperor. And, of course, this is the ride for Huey Bowman.
Wayne's horse, Roman Emperor.
Well, for decades, the best Melbourne Cup trial is the horse that runs second in the Caulfield Cup. In the last 53 years, 8 horses have converted being runner-up in the Caulfield Cup to winning the Melbourne Cup. And probably the reason for that is the Caulfield Cup's the most important lead-up race, and you can't get a penalty. Roman Emperor has had 5 runs this prep. I prefer them to have 4, but Roman Emperor resumed at 1200 and ran last. It was a barrier trial. I think he has all the ticks for me, and I think there's only 3 horses can win the Melbourne Cup this year, and he's one of them.
Number 8, and your details coming up on your screen now. Karen McAvoy, the jockey, and the fixed odds is at, the TAB Sports Bet odds at $61. It's the crime scene in the Stevenson Stakes at Newbury. Richard, what sort of a guide can we get out of this?
Well, you can only go on what the experts from the UK are saying, and they're saying that this horse is well handicapped. He likes a bit of cut in the ground. He'll be better if they get a bit of rain, but he's not out of it on firm ground. Look, he's running the Geelong Cup was fair without being spectacular. He's one of these mystery Europeans.
Well, he's what I call a yo-yo horse. He's a good rating, bad rating, good rating, bad rating. It's very interesting. They've learnt a lot, I think, this stable. The international horses, in my opinion, should have 1 run as a lead-up. The evidence of that is sound. I haven't got time to go through it, but it's absolutely sound. And this horse has had the 1 run. He's got a phenomenal record with 1 run. He's won 4 times of his last 5 goes when he's come in second up. I've made him the best outsider in the race and put him in 4th in the Cup. He's 60-1. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is around that price. I don't think he's sort of all going to shorten just because I've given him a good chance. But the horse hasn't been noticed, and his second up performance is recognisable, and he just pulls a run out of off the back of nowhere. And having the 1 run in Australia is a very, very big plus.
Valley and Sally in South Australia, and of course I'm referring to Alco Pop, who is currently the pre-post favourite for the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday, one of the equal favourites there. Jake Stevens, the trainer. Dominic Tenua is the jockey. Alco Pop has drawn barrier 12. It's currently at $5.50. This is where its Cups campaign really started getting into full swing. That was the Balaclava Cup. This is bordering on fairy tale story.
This is the story of the Cup. Don't worry about Bart Cummings. This will be Bart Stevens if he wins the Cup. He's 4 from 4 this preparation. He's 1,200 to a mile to 2,000 to 2,400. He keeps blowing them away. He blew Shocking out of the water last time.
Or something, but he carries the best factors into the race. The most powerful factor for the Melbourne Cup is to have had 4 runs in from a spell and produce a personal best at your previous run. There's been in the last 15 years, 5 Melbourne Cup winners have done this from not that many opportunities. Alco Pop is the contender this year, and Mackay 3 times, Doremus and Ethereal all had the same pattern. It's a phenomenal pattern, and this horse has got acceleration to burn. If the horse and jockey hold it together, and in the race, I think that he'll win the Melbourne Cup. I expect that he won't be as far.
Placed in the Cup 3 times, of course, runner-up on Bauer. Of course, also with Mr. Prudent, placed on Lahar. Mark Kavanagh had a runner in the race a few years back. Hard to get. This is a better chance.
Probably the best back runner in the last 24 hours on the back of that win. It was such a great ride, but also a very emphatic win. $11, Bruce, was 16 in, $11. When you look at Alco Pop's price and its price, I know Alco Pop won pretty easily, but there is a big difference in price, and I think at $11, it still represents pretty good value. I think there'll be more money for Shocking.
But Alco Pop's added 3 lengths on him each time.
I just reckon that win and the sectionals, I'm going to back him each way. He's just going to be my one solid each way bet in the race. I don't think he can possibly miss a place because Flemington is his track. He's unbeaten at the 2 runs there.
Sectionals were great, Steve.
Look, he's got a terrific chance in the race, but another logical part of my brain says, well, how can he beat Alco Pop?
Exactly right. All right. I think Cav's up and down spring is going to continue here this year, and I think he might win his first Melbourne Cup with number 21, Shocking. I think
Lauren.
Yes, not too dissimilar. I like Alco Pop. I think his form is flawless. To beat Viewed and Master O'Reilly. Shocking's Master O'Reilly. Shocking's probably the other legitimate winning chance. Well, I think.
But Alco Pop on top. I love his turn of foot. I think that's what I win in the Melbourne Cup. If Dominic can get in to relax, I think he can.
One is to ride barrier number 22, and it's a TAB sports bet odd is at $11. Odd is at $11.
About this horse. Yesterday he raced on the rail. Now we've seen him want to lay in races, and his anti-penultimate run, he crashed into a horse when he was following Alco Pop, as you pointed out there, Alf. Then at his next start in the Kunchi, he wanted to lay in very badly at the 200. Yesterday, Michael put him on the rail, and that was it was just a completely different performance, completely different horse. Sadly, the horse has gone and drawn barrier 22, so it'd be unlikely to get the rail tomorrow. The Lexus, well, I'm going to tip Alco Pop to win, Viewed second, and Roman Emperor third, and my best outsider is Crime Scene.
Crime Scene already back there, number 8. All right, thanks.
I don't know whether it's Dominic Byrne, but there's been a significant bet on crime scenes in the last 15 minutes.
Yes, Andrew. I know Dominic said he's got it in his top 4. There was one bet, 4,000 the win and 10,000 the place on Crime Scene. The 4,000 the win was at $61. The 10,000 a place at $16. It's now a 50 to 1 chance in the Melbourne Cup, and quite. Well, in the matter of minutes after that, one bet of 12,000 on Viewed at $5.50. So starting to warm up at TAB's.
Go for, but Daffodil all over the mare. Let's hope for Kevin Gray's sake that she's going to be winning on Tuesday. You've got the other tips on screen. A couple of others.
In the left hand to make sure it stays straight. He'll encourage it over the line to beat Alco Pop.
I don't think I'll be tipping Newport. I'm going to go without any consultation whatsoever with Dominic Byrne. I think I've come up with basically the same horses in the same order. You just put Dominic's in. Friend, I've just swapped view.
Going to Jake Bartholomew Stevens and Dominic Darby Tenor will be the jockey with Alco Pop to beat Sailor Gur, Viewed and Shocking.
It's Newport.
These are my tips, are they? All right, sir.
They're my tips. You like Roman Emperor Daffodil.
Bart Cummings is just 24 hours away from achieving a first, his own Spring Carnival Grand Slam. His Star Viewed remains the favourite to go back-to-back in tomorrow's Melbourne Cup, and it seems only a handful of...
Punter's Paradise, there was no shortage of colourful currency changing hands, particularly from one of Australia's biggest gamblers.
To win 100,000, Sean Bartholomew.
On a race like this, my invest will be somewhere between 200,000 and 400,000, somewhere in that range.
You buy a house with that?
You could buy 10 houses with what I might win.
Bartholomew supporting Viewed, and shocking as other punters joined him with a series of bookmaker-busting wagers. Fumicino back to win more than $250,000 in one bet, while the money streamed in for Alco Pop and Viewed.
I came for Viewed at $5.50, came for Alco Pop at $6.
But the horse most heavily supported here this afternoon was the New Zealand AJC Oaks winner Daffodil, who in just a short 5-minute punting spree was back to win more than $1.2 million.
All that I know is I backed it for truckloads with me. I mean, at this stage, it'll be about 300,000 or 400,000.
The 4-year-old mare at the Melbourne News.
In major breaking news, David Hayes has been told his Cup Hope changing of the guard must prove his fitness tomorrow morning before being allowed to run in the Melbourne Cup. Racing Victoria vets examined 3 Cup Hopes this morning. There are concerns with changing of the guard's actions at a trot. He'll need...
Morning of Irish stayer changing of the guard. David Hayes fumed at suggestions his expensive new stayer would be scratched after a trot-up in front of vets this morning.
If that horse is lame, they might as well scratch my whole team of horses today. Yeah. Because he's not lame.
It was the second inspection in 2 days. The irate trainer confronting stewards over their concerns.
Definitely not after run, then obviously. No. Oh, well, that's up to these knuckleheads.
But behind closed doors, changing of the guard, which was purchased just 7 weeks ago from Ireland, failed to convince 3 racing Victoria vets that it was fit to race. Officially scratched for lameness in its foreleg just minutes before the deadline. The chief steward defending the decision.
I've got no doubt our 3 vets have been doing it for many, many years, very experienced, and if they say a horse is lame, that's enough for me.
The Hayes stable vet.
Lame, that's enough for me.
The Hayes stable vet, who ruled the horse fit, was taking the decision personally.
Sit behind a desk all day. They don't trot up 100 horses a day like we do.
Whilst others saw it as a slur on the trainer himself.
Very disappointing. I felt the horse was sound, and so did my vets, and so does everyone that rides him.
The scratching also ended.
It felt like a little bit more room to move in some of the areas in the betting ring and those sorts of areas. They weren't quite as crowded. That headwind as well. The track walker Darren Murphy has just said basically we might see a pretty slowly run Melbourne Cup because none of the jockeys are going to want to go forward the first time up the straight. They're all going to be trying to get cover. So no one's starting to get their vantage points for the big one. Viewed 5, 10, 680 Roman Emperor, 12 for Master O'Reilly, and further over down the page you see 620 for Alco Pop, and the rest double figure odds ahead of the Melbourne Cup. Really, as far as the punters and the bookies are concerned, only a handful of most taken by Marillion in the yard, but Viewed I think is just going to be terribly hard to beat, just going up with the 1 kilo from the Caulfield Cup, the penalty there. And no efficient here, which was the benchmark, really what Greg Carpenter used. Let's see the update of what's happening on the tote. $5 for Viewed. He's still at $6 here on course, so no real changes to the betting. 14 into 12 for Master O'Reilly. Further down, most of them seem to be pretty static because, of course, we've had so much betting already through the week and particularly earlier on today as well. Money for Alco Pop, as you would expect on course. He is now 550 into 480. That is a big go on Melbourne Cup Day.
I reckon when Dominic took the clear market mover to force a horse in from 550 to 480 on this occasion is huge money.
Yep, let's see if we can...
Alco Pop will be a pronounced favourite. There's been a lot of money for Alco Pop in the last few minutes. 5 to 550 initially, now into $4.80. Alco Pop and favourite Viewed.
Alco Pop jumping away cleanly from crime scene for Celtico. Viewed jumps okay. Spin around, shows some speed on the inside, and Mutsif is up there early from Galleon's Reach. Sailor Gear drops in for a trail with Zabit. Here's Fumicino and Warringa out wider, going up towards the leaders in a bunching field in the early stages of it. Roman Emperor trying to cross over somewhere. Alco Pop's got into about midfield on the rails as they came past the 2,800 metres here. And Fumicino wide out with Warringa, and they're going to the lead from Zabit, Galleon's Reach, and Crime Scene just off them. Spin around, tucked in on the inside, and then Roman Empress found himself out a little wide here in the nose roll. A length and a half Shocking also caught 3 deep at the moment. Salinger tucked in on the rails and then came Munsev. A length through the back is Alco Pop Kibbutz, then came the Great Newport and a dawdle down to the post. In behind these is Viewed, LA Wonder, and then Basaltico. A length further back is Marillion, Like a Ding, and then came Master O'Reilly, Daffodil. Harris Tweed racing a bit erratically from Cape Cover, and Esther Kareem brought up the rear. It's a slow pace now, and Damien Oliver has Warringah, the leader, by 2. Fiumicino and Roman Emperor getting up on the steel. A bit he moved up into second placing now. Zabit is holding fourth on the inside of Galleon's Reach. 2 lengths to spin around a neck to Crime Scene. A length and a half Sailor Gear. Munsef the middle and Shocking out wide. 2 lengths away Alco Pop, who's relaxed beautifully on the inside of Kibbutz and Newport 3 deep. 1 further back is LA Wonder, and neck away on the outside, the stablemate is Viewed. 2 lengths Marillion, followed by Like a Ding, Basaltic. It's Warringah, the leader, an uncontested front runner. Roman Emperor's a length and a half away when they go to the 1400. Fiumicino's running third on the inside. Galleon's Reach is fourth. Zavita length away fifth, and then Crime Scene spin around a length and a half to Munsef, Sailor Gear. Shocking still out wide, and they're followed by Kibbutz. 2 lengths to Elko Pop, 2 lengths away LA Wonder and Newport, a length and a half to Viewed. They're followed by Like a Ding, Marillion, Harris, Tweed. Further back in the field is Daffodil, Basaltico, Master O'Reilly, Cape Cover, and Esther Kareem is still last in the field, strung out by the 1,000. And Warringah still the leader. Roman Emperor second, a length away. A length Fiumicino, a half Galleon's Reach, a length Zavit, Crime Scene. They're followed by Spin Around and Shocking, Sailor Gear. Further back is Kibbutz. LA Wonder sneaking up on the inside. Tanua's taken Elko Pop to the outside to try and make some ground on this field. He's under some pressure around the home turn. And back behind him is Viewed. It's Warringah, tackled by Roman Emperor. Galleon's Reach. Crime Scene a little wider out when they corner. Fiumicino trying to find a way clear. Followed by Zavit, Shocking putting in a run. Harris Tweed down the outside. Sailor Gear is threading through. Elko Pop out very wide. 300 metres to go. Here's Shocking after Crime Scene, who's hit the lead. Harris Tweed was rider out, and then Sailor Gear and Elko Pop. It's Crime Scene and Shocking racing clear at the 200 from Elko Pop. It's on the outside, Shocking and Crime Scene. Shocking with his head in front of Crime Scene. Shocking drawing away. It's Shocking to win the Melbourne Cup from Crime Scene. Marillion's got from nowhere to grab third. Master O'Reilly fourth. Viewed, Harris Tweed, Elko Pop next. Followed by Newport and further back Sailor Gear, Galleon's Reach, Like a Ding, Daffodil, Kibbutz. And then came LA Wonder, Cape Cover, Munsef, Spinner over with the exception of Warringah, who's about 50 and a length away. A length Fiumicino, a half the inside. Tanua's taken Elko Pop to the outside to try and make some ground on this field. He's under some pressure around the home turn, and back behind him is Viewed. It's Warringah, tackled by Roman Emperor, Galleon's Reach. Crime Scene a little wider out when they corner. Fiumicino trying to find a way clear. Followed by Zavit, Shocking putting in a run. Harris Tweed down the outside. Sailor Gear is threading through. Elko Pop out very wide. 300 metres to go. Here's Shocking after Crime Scene, who'd hit the lead. Harris Tweed was rider out, and then Sailor Gear and Elko Pop. It's Crime Scene and Shocking racing clear at the 200 from Elko Pop. It's on the outside, Shocking and Crime Scene. Shocking with his head in front of Crime Scene. Shocking drawing away. It's Shocking to win the Melbourne Cup from Crime Scene. Marillion's come from nowhere to grab third. Master O'Reilly fourth. Viewed, Harris Tweed, Elko.
Cup performances of all time. He has sat 3 wide the trip. I know it's a windy day and that might change things, but he had no cover. He's produced a sustained run in the straight. He had to fight.
So close, so often, haven't we? That too, last year was very disappointing, but I've got it. I've finally won the Melbourne Cup. And the dream has come true. It is a dream come true, mate, honestly. It's just... Till you got to the line, you said, it's mine, did you? I kept looking on the outside shoulder, thinking something was going to flash home. Great job, Mark Kavanagh on the horse. Show with 3 deep, no cover. I know he had a lightweight, but he toughed it out very well. If ever a jockey deserves
for the last couple of minutes, that is one of the great performances in Melbourne Cup history.
Yeah. I didn't give up hope in the run. He was trapped deep and, I said halfway through, it's hard to win a Melbourne Cup. But look, he went so good on Saturday and he improved. He improved since that run. And his preparation was timed to perfection. He came good at the right time.
What were your thoughts when you turned for home after the run that you'd had, but he seemed to be travelling?
Yeah, well, he was travelling. I just looked at it and I thought, well, he just can't keep going. But, he was just, the superior stayer on the day.
Finally there, Corey. Pulling up, shocking after taking out the Melbourne Cup for 2009, 990, 360, 1080 crime scene, and 820. Well, the Europeans have stood up, haven't they? Just briefly on shocking.
In was third. Master O'Reilly finished fourth, just like last year. The favourites, Alcopop, was sixth and Viewed seventh. Lucky last was Oliver's Ride, Warringah. Leith Mulligan.
On the moon since Tuesday, shocking Mark Kavanagh and Corey Brown take it, number 21, beating Godolphin again, second for the third time in their career. 4 placings in the race. They'll get one. Marillion was fantastic. Herman Brown loved it, loved coming here. View got into trouble. Alco Pop got into trouble. The suspension's out of it, but it was a great story.
Yeah, it certainly was, Bruce. You just wouldn't believe that the man who was so devastated to be beaten an inch in last year's Cup, Corey Brown, would return 12 months later and make amends quickly. Fantastic story, and the Alco Pop story was great. And his run in the Cup was fantastic. Alco Poppy was sort of the pinball in the early part of the race. Then probably when Dom wanted to get going, he sort of just got squeezed up again. I think they might have even had a little issue with the girth. So he was great, Alco Pop, but all honours with the winner.
I still think you look at Alco Pop, I still think he's 12 months away. I thought there was nearly the ride of the day.
Fantastic.
Dominic Tanui rode an absolute treat. He got into the nice spot. I know a little bit of buffeting earlier. That happens in Melbourne Cups, but he saved plenty of ground. He got off when he wanted to get going. But Mark Kavanagh, Corey Brown, and as you said, for 12 months ago, he was shattered because he thought he had won. And that was what the shattering part was for Corey. But he felt it this year and he felt the emotion. And to win a Melbourne Cup, as he said, that's his highlight.
Fantastic result for Cav, isn't it? And you've got to dip your lid. But he's still only trained half as many Group 1 winners as Bart this season.
Yeah.
About Street Cry, he
on the Tour de France, number 173. And really, it's got to happen in this day and age. It's a simple solution. Emergencies for the Cup, it's got to happen.
But use the discretionary powers not to include the horse into the race, and we touched on why.
Bruce, I think they should throw the discretionary powers out the window, because I know they did it a few years ago. The more I sat down and I thought about it this year is, if they'd put Vigor into the field, I would have been absolutely ropeable if I was a runner in the field who owned a horse, who had done all the hard work and had gone to the handicaps to get the penalty to get into the race. Danny was clever, but he wasn't clever enough. He fell one spot short of getting in the field. And, well, unfortunately, he should have got a run with the emergency being scratched. But I think at the start of the year, everyone knows where you got to be. We get to the final acceptances. We go straight down the ball. If the 21st, 24 want to run, they run. You've got all year to work out how to get into that top 24 spots.
In the Cup, well, I thought the second horse, Crime Scene, ran out of his skin there.
That was a great run, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Marillion, what a nice horse.
Well, he would have to be the run of the race, considering the way the race was run.
Yeah.
He spread it from the back, and I'm suggesting if they would have put speed on in that race, he could well have won the race.
Could have been the winner.
But,
Let's just revert that to, of course, the extraordinary performance by Shocking, because as you said, it was 3 wide, but the slow pace certainly helped it along, Ronnie.
Well, it's not just the slow pace. It's it's probably the slowest run Cup I can remember, and we must consider before this race, I would suggest nothing had come along the fence all day. So I'm saying that the 4 and 5 off the fence was the place to be. Alf, did you have any thoughts on the ride, on the winner, and the way the track was playing?
Everyone was talking about the desperate and awkward headwind down the straight the first time, and that was always going to have some sort of an effect from about the 1,000-metre mark to the 900, where horses on the rail were going to face that headwind, and then whatever straightened up. Obviously, look, when you dealt a card like Barrier 22, I thought Corey's ride was absolutely fantastic. He didn't have to do anything great. He just had to move in, get a little bit of cover. And what you've said about the slow speed, the slower they go, the more horses you've got control of back inside of you. And it turned out to be the perfect spot. I've got no doubt about that. But I think people just
say about that is, look, I don't know. I'm not going to comment on whether it was a good ride or a bad ride. All I'm going to say is I think it was the circumstances around the race which allowed that horse to face the breeze 3 deep in a normally run fast race in a Melbourne Cup, you can't do
tougher.
that.
No.
And all I'm saying is, Corey, he didn't decide whether the race was slowly run or not. He had no effect on that. It was a blessing that it was, because it allowed him to sit 3 deep.
Whether that look, and I think everyone's going to take
every hope Tenora. Yeah, special mention to Tenora and Jake Stevens, the way their fairy tale coming into the Cup unfolded, and I think they're going to have a bit of fun next year. And if there was an unlucky runner in the Cup, I have to say it was Viewed. Nothing went right there. He pulled his head off. He found more trouble with the top weight. And I thought he should have finished much, much closer.
Ron, I also...
Day of Melbourne Cup week, the Crown Oaks for 2009 over the 2,500 metres for the 3-year-old fillies. It is worth $1 million. Faint Perfume. They opened her up at $1.55. She's now $1.60 on course, and just had a bit of a buzz there. One of my favourite horses at the moment. So You Think was just in the mounting yard as Faint Perfume was walking past. He looks magnificent heading on towards the Emirates on Saturday, the Cox Plate winner. So Bart bringing in his Zara of the show, perhaps for Bart Cummings. Well, she's certainly the way that the punters are thinking of.
Favourite. No, I haven't seen this too many times. Even Samantha missed last year, wasn't this short. Open 155. They've got to do $1.65, but that's as far as they seem to be prepared to go. They bet $4 odd last week. Then they put up $1.90 after a Wakeful win, and that was taken.
Silence around about to come into the stalls. Signal. And the starter caught them okay. Faint Perfume jumps evenly and is being restrained early. Well rounded away nicely from Melito, Money Angel, and there's Superb going up. Silence around is just off them in the early part. And Faint Perfume's gone back about 3rd or 4th last, and she travels quite wide at the turn out of the straight. Now they're jockeying for positions, and Money Angel goes to the lead. Silence around 3 lengths away second, and 2.5. So they're trailed then by Perfect Rhythm. Faint Perfume still second last, and Rhiannon's Joy is last at the 800 metres. And the leader coming up towards the turn is Money Angel by 2 lengths. Silence around. Well-rounded move to 3rd, followed by Melito. Then Sav's Bell. They're starting to bunch up a little. Next is Superb, who's hard-ridden. Princess Rage. Valdemoro peels to the outside. And here's Rod starting his move on the favourite now, Faint Perfume. They're into the straight. Silence around. On the outside, well-rounded. Sav's Bell joining in. 2 or 3 Valdemoro. And the widest runner, Faint Perfume. Now she's asked for the supreme run. Sav's Bell racing up to well-rounded. Valdemoro joining in. Faint Perfume the widest at the 200 metres. She's letting down with a beautiful run. Valdemoro tackled by Faint Perfume. They're followed by Sav's Bell and well-rounded. Faint Perfume got to Valdemoro at the 100-metre mark. It's Faint Perfume about a head in front of Valdemoro. And Faint Perfume, Bart's done it. Faint Perfume beat Valdemoro and 4 lengths to Sav's Bell 3rd. A break of 4 or 5 lengths then to well-rounded. Miss with attitude. Silence around. A long break in the field then as they come in at big intervals here. Rhiannon's Joy and Superb. And then about 15 lengths further back is Perfect Rhythm. Princess Valdemoro and the widest runner, Faint Perfume. Now she's asked for the supreme run. Sav's Bell racing up to well-rounded. Valdemoro joining in. Faint Perfume the widest at the 200 metres. She's letting down with a beautiful run. Valdemoro tackled by Faint Perfume. They're followed by Sav's Bell and well-rounded. Faint Perfume got to Valdemoro at the 100-metre mark. It's Faint Perfume about a head in front of Valdemoro. And Faint Perfume, Bart's done it. Faint Perfume beat Valdemoro and 4 lengths to Sav's Bell 3rd. A break of 4 or 5 lengths then.
Between him and myself for the last furlong and a half, and this filly's just probably a little bit more seasoned for him, and yeah, she's just too strong.
When you put the butt down with Bart Cummings, they just keep fighting more, don't they? But did you go out with a plan to follow Nick all the way if he was in front of you?
He was the one debating. Nick's a pretty confident young bloke, and he was talking his up yesterday, and he thought he could win the race. So when I was on his tail, I thought, well, I'll just sit here and follow him around, and he did all the donkey work, and I was able to peel her out. And yeah, like you said, when they're with Bart, they've always got that turn of foot.
And Michael, agree.
But she looked a class above them, and so it proved at the end.
Well, she's a very good staying filly. Not only about 15 hands, but she's got a big heart, and she stays very well. The pace was genuine today, and much unlike the Melbourne Cup, there was a decent speed on, and it gave the back markers a good chance to pick them up.
You did give them probably...
Little horses, doesn't matter, so long as they eat up. And this one, you'd imagine, will go out and clean out the feed bin. There's Bart, just a very satisfied smile. We can't show you that.
9 thanks for Bart. Strong staying performance. Like the winner, love the runner-up, Valdemoro. It's a maiden, but I think there's plenty of upside with Valdemoro. But this Shamadale filly coming through the preparation, the Wakeful end of the Oaks, and was just too strong on the day.
We keep talking about the strength of this 3-year-old crop, and I think that's fair enough and very tenuous to compare times on different days, but they ran about 25 lengths quicker than the Derby here. Faint Perfume, Valdemoro, and I think the fact that Faint Perfume just had the sit on Valdemoro the whole way, and that probably made the difference.
At the top of the straight, you would have thought Faint Perfume was going to win by 3 or 4. Geez, the second horse went terrific. Savers Bell, the third horse, and Rogie, just a stayer she is. Then Melito, she can't run the journey. She's a very good filly. I wouldn't be surprised next time if she didn't go any further than 1,400 metres. I really think she's a 12, 14 mile at the furthest.
Suppose that'd have a go, though.
Wasn't it? That was a real staying test, and she come out on top there, Faint Perfume. I don't think she is any star at all, to tell you the truth. I think she is the classic case of a Bart Cummings timing. She's a little homebred. You heard Bart say there, she's about 15 hands high. I reckon that was her grand final in life. I'm not.
I'd love to disagree with you, but I cannot be conclusive on that because so many of those fillies that have won that race have not gone on with a job. Everyone at the time has said, oh, this will go on and win the Melbourne Cup next year, and they almost never do. So I think you could be right about that.
She lacks size and she lacks scope. She's got heart, and she sort of outstayed the more or less the better looking.
Well, if she's a superstar, so's the other one.
I like the second horse.
But it's unlikely that there's 2 superstars in one, Oaks. It rarely, if ever, happens. Look at history. I mean,
Look, the job's done with her, and look, I hope she comes back and does a great job in the autumn, but I have doubts.
Alfie.
Crossed. Race 1.
Away from the sprint race. Favourite on the tote is number 3, All Silent, at 370, just ahead of number 1, Apache Cat.
Regarding this race coming up, the jockeys may elect just to go in a straight line, in the centre of the track, or go to the if they do, which I think they might, they'll all have a chance. They'll be in the same similar ground.
As far as the betting, not much between a few of them around the $4 and $5 mark.
Certainly not. There's the totes on screen. On track, Apache Cat, $4.40 out to $5. Dan Lee is a 20-1 chance and steady. All Silent, $3.50 out to $4. Turf on...
And of course, he won the Emirates Stakes here on this day last year for the...
Unbeaten here at Flemington, loves the tracks being genuinely good. He gets that this afternoon. And I suppose the major tick for him is that he just comes into this race a touch fresher than most of his rivals, backing up from the Salinger last Saturday. Terrific race, tremendous depth. Some of these potentially overseas bound, of course, have had us fairly easy. Bookmakers betting to 105%, which is almost unheard of. Micmac out to $6. Nakoni $5.50. All Silent on track $4. Apache Cat on track is $4.40 out to $5.50. A little more money for Dan Lee, 21 into 18. Turfontaine and Wanted 17 into 16. So they've spec the one.
I want the champ to win, Apache Cat.
I think he'll get beat. I don't like him drawn on an inside barrier down the straight. I'll get beat. I don't like him drawn on an inside barrier down the straight. I would prefer him on the outside. All Silent.
Micmac.
There you go.
Dash. Racing. All Silent jumps okay near the outside. So too did Wanted, seeking attention. The baldy-faced Apache Cat got away okay. And also Bank Robber close to the inside. So they all settle down and come to the middle of the course. And as they sort out their order, it's Bank Robber who has the lead. He's in front of Wanted, the 3-year-old, up on the outside. Just in behind the speed is Micmac. And then trailed Danley close to the inside, seeking attention not far away. In behind them is Apache Cat, Turfontaine, all sided back towards the end. He's near the inside with Nakoni out wider. Coming to the 600 metres now, and it's Bank Robber leading narrowly from Micmac. Wider is Wanted, Danley close to the inside, room for Apache Cat to come through. Nakoni coming with his run, Turfontaine inside him, and still All Silent last. Inside the 400, Bank Robber tackled by Micmac, Wanted running on, and then Apache Cat, Danley boxing on the inside. The favourites are fair way back at the moment. At the 200, still Bank Robber narrowly from Micmac, Wanted, Apache Cat. Here comes All Silent. He's flashing home. Bank Robber is tackled by All Silent. That's a fantastic win. All Silent gets up to beat Wanted, Bank Robber and Apache Cat. Micmac and then trailed Danley, Turfontaine, seeking attention, and Nakoni last. That was breathtaking. Inside him and still all silent last. Inside the 400, back robber tackled by Micmac. Wanted running on, and then Apache Cat. Danley boxing on the inside. The favourites are fairway back at the moment. At the 200, still back robber narrowly from Micmac. Wanted Apache Cat. Here comes all silent. He's flashing home. Back robber is tackled by all silent. That's a fantastic win. All silent gets up to beat Wanted, back robber and Apache. That was breathtaking.
Certainly did. Nicholas Hall, I don't think he's ever travelled faster on a horse. That was breathtaking.
Absolutely stunning, that horse. To come from where he was in the field, to unleash a sectional like perhaps we've never seen on this track before, and to eat up these superstar sprinters in front of him who were highballing. They were going at their absolute top. He's given them 4 lengths. He's lengthened stride here. Nicholas Hall just said, come on, boy. Come on, boy. Giving him a bit more rain. He's kept giving, kept coming. Unbelievable. That is a stunning finish.
He was never on his right leg. Bank Robber in the purple colours dominated the speed. Wanted in the blue colours outside. There's Apache Cat creeping up for 4th. He was travelling, but he was off the bit. Now, here's all silent. When I say he's not on his right leg, he's wanting to run in. He's wanting to hang because he was going that fast. And he was wanting to run to the... He's not quite knowing what he's doing, this horse. He's an absolute freak, Francesca.
Yeah, well, we were saying as the race was being run, we didn't think there was that whole amount of pace on. But actually to come from last to first in that short distance just shows that he's got the most incredible acceleration and turn of foot. They just made the others look like they were standing still almost.
He's a near champion. There's no question about that.
300 to go, and to put those horses away, fantastic.
Yeah, mate, it's one thing to win that race on him the other day, but way for age here against these sort of horses, different class, and he's so explosive.
And
look, I was really confident going into the race. He's got a better turn of foot than any horse I've ridden. The only thing was I had to come off the coney, weakening the coney's back early on, and he's done such a good job.
It's an exciting
win. Graham Begg, I think Greg Miles summed it up in the call. That was breathtaking.
Well, he wasn't wrong, was he? But gave us a few anxious moments coming up to about the 400 when he got onto Naconey's back, and he didn't take him into the race, and he had to get around his heels and wind him up, and thank God it was Flemington. Yeah.
I don't know what he ran his last 400 and he probably broke the clock.
Yeah, I don't know what his last 200 was, but, you know, look, he's a very patient rider and he suited the horse very, very well, and he's just clicked.
Unbeatable at Flemington, isn't he?
Well, you know, he's pretty good anywhere, but, you know, he just needs the conditions right on the day. He just loves that good to firm ground, and, you know, he's a very, very good racehorse.
There's another big track waiting for him at Sha Tin. Will he go and who'll ride him?
Oh, well, if we decide to go, there's no Nick Hall will be riding the horse. So, yeah, taking him off now. He's won 2 out of 2 on him. But we'll see how he gets through.
For you again on the Group 1, 397, 370, $1.60, 322, 80.
The highlight for me, anyway, this was absolutely awesome. This is up the straight in the Patnack Farm.
Boxing on the inside. The favourites are fairway back at the moment. At the 200, still back Robert narrowly from Micmac. Wanted Apache Cat. Here comes All Silent. He's flashing home. Back Robert is tackled by All Silent. That's a fantastic win. All Silent gets up to beat Wanted, back Robert and Apache Cat. Micmac and then trying.
Oh, you bet it was. Almost the win of the carnival, All Silent from last in a sprint, and they got home the field in 33.14. He had to run 32.5 to run past them. Only run past them. Almost a length on the line to beat them. Wanted's had a good week. Bank Robbers had a good carnival. He deserves a big win. Danley didn't have much luck. Naconey, there were issues with him post-race. He'll be going to the paddock, but let's not worry about them. Let's worry about this star sprinter. He is brilliant.
He is brilliant, absolutely. Probably the cover in the early part of the race was excellent for him and a great ride from Nick Hall. I've talked about horses running for Michael Rod. I think they probably do for Nick Hall too. Switches to the outside there in the red cap, and the skip home in 32.5, and Rich, as we were saying on air, second and third have been 1-2. They've crawled through that first 600 down the straight. You know, 2-year-olds go quicker than they did in the first half of the race. He wasn't entitled to pick them up.
I was sitting on a table yesterday and a couple of people backed All Silent, and I said at the 300, I said, you've got none. I said, you have to break ridiculous sectionals the last furlong and a half to win. Well, he could do it. I just couldn't believe he could win from there. A wonderful training effort from Graham Begg. Look, this
he's going to be a 6-year-old. You know, he hasn't had 20 runs yet, so we'd like to have him around for a bit longer. So we thought, well, look, stick to sprinting this time with possibly Hong Kong, you know, a month later.
I wouldn't have think you've had a horse with a more dynamic sprint and turn of foot acceleration.
Well, Telesto used to be pretty bloody good, but I think he takes Telesto on a cake.
Yeah, I'm lost for words with this horse. There's nothing can describe his turn of foot. He did a fantastic job today. I followed Nakoni in the race, but he was just weakening Nakoni, and I had to get off his back earlier than I wanted to and face the breeze, and he's done a fantastic job.
What are you thinking about in situations like that? You know you've got the right horse, but are you thinking, will I go in? Will I go out? I can't get this horse to take me into the race. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, look, there was always the option to follow Apache Cat to the inside of me, but on such a good horse, and I've been riding him a bit, and I know how explosive he can be. You just got to be confident.
And when he got that clear ground, I mean, he's put a margin on them when he was 2 lengths off him with 100 metres to go.
Yeah, it's an unreal feeling, Bruce. I can't describe it to you. I'll have to get you on him.
Oh, maybe you have to strap me on the way. Let's go, because I might come off. But a chance for you to take this form on the international stage with this horse, I hope.
Yeah, I hope they go to Hong Kong, represent Australia. It'd be a fantastic thrill. Would love to ride international.
Well, good emergence too for Nick. 3 winners for the week and caps it off there with Group 1. He had 2 Group 1 seconds as well, including Valdemoro in the Oaks. He's really emerged from his father's name, Stephen. He's a very talented young rider.
Riding with confidence and would appear to be a pretty good judge too. He was happy to talk up Valdemoro leading into the Oaks, and he was very nearly right.
And co-train it. He was telling us how he told Tony Vassell, who's been around a little bit longer than Nick, don't run this in the Wakeful. It'll ruin its chances of winning the Oaks. Well, he was almost right. And I hope he goes to Hong Kong, this horse. But I think his go would be England next year, Ascot, the Golden Jubilee, 1200. Then just 3 or 4 weeks, freshen up into the July Cup at Newmarket up that undulating straight.
Well, we've all failed. A lot of our runners have failed at the July. That'd be his go, the tough 1200. Oh, he's a super horse, and geez, the more I watch Nicholas Hall, the more I get wrapped in him.
I've got a BS for you, and I'm referring to big statements.
Oh, right.
I'll get the same answer.
He could go anywhere in the world at the moment, this horse, up to a mile and win against all comers.
Current rating 119, Scenic Blast 122. That's off yesterday's performance. Scenic Blast, of course, in Hong Kong. We're going to have Apache Cat there. We're going to have this horse there. So Australians will be well represented in the sprint.
Talk about one of the most amazing performances down the straight, and I refer to All Silent. But
Carnival. Yeah, the performance of the Carnival for me, I think, came on the last day. To see All Silent do what he did, it was phenomenal what he did.
As I go to you, Alf, I mean, that was simply breathtaking. You might explain why it was such an amazing win.
Graham, the simple fact that the horse never possesses a great deal of speed, but he's actually had 3 splits, 3 200-metre sectionals inside 11 seconds. Overall time of 1:08.78. That is fantastic. But at 400 to the 200, 10:64. So there is what you can learn out of sectional times. Irrespective of that, this is some horse, this is some rider. And Graham Begg, we've known for many, many years how talented he and his father are. So congratulations to all them. Wanted, game for a 3-year-old. I thought his run was full of credit too. And I'm really pleased. Not quite sure Andrew might be able to let us know.
Words cannot describe that. That is just unbelievable, that performance. He's the best sprinter miler in Australia, and I would even go as far to say he's the best sprinter in the world.
Well, that's a big statement.
Well,
certainly
better than that.
Certainly, I love the horse, and I love watching him. And what he did yesterday was stunning, right? No doubt about it. I have a little theory. I think one of the reasons he goes so well at Flemington is because Flemington has the longest straight, if you're going around the bend, in Australian racing, just about, and he races so well down the straight. I just think he needs that length of straight running to produce that sort of top speed that he gets to. And on smaller courses, he doesn't get enough time in a straight line to reach that top speed. That's just my theory.
I got a theory about him as well. He's a dry tracker.
Have
a look at his record. The only times he's been beat is on wet tracks. He's had 6 runs in the wet. I think he's 1 win.
Yep.
And you have a look at his dry and fast track form. His good track form. It's untouchable. Untouchable.
Ronnie, he'd be well suited at Ascot.
Well, look, he'd be well suited in any race. I can't believe that he won the mile so easily last year, and then he didn't do that in a sprint race.
I think he needs two things: right track and a lot.
The Emirates Stakes $1 million race over the mile here is, well, I think the runners are in the yard. We can't quite see them at this point, but they've left the pre-parade ring. We can tell you that the last one to leave was So You Think. They kept him in the stalls. He walked around for about 10 minutes in the Emirates for 2009.
And he's holding his cool, so you think?
Oh, yes. I do think indeed. No, he's
Mile contest. Black Piranha hasn't budged, 11 to 1. Nibble for Road to Rock, 21 into 19. Sniper's Bullet, 19. Vigor, $10 into 950, back out to 10. Gold Salute is 650 to 8, numbers 9 onwards. No interest in the bottom ones, Walking or Dancing 12 to 13. No real interest betting wise, 13, 14, 15. Eagle Falls 12 to 11. Triple Honour 31 to 26. Rightfully Yours 13, 15. And So You Think. They bet $4.60 and now into $4, back into $4. So You Think as we
Sit now. And So You Think jumped well in the middle of the line. Oh, Gold Salute didn't jump out of the stalls well. He's back last there with Road to Rock. And Vigor the first one out. Away quickly Von Costa to Hero. And So You Think is up there. And he's going for the lead as he did in the Cox Plate. So it's So You Think taking over the running. And he's out by 2 lengths, settling into stride from Walking or Dancing. Kicking forward around the outside. Eagle Falls now gets to second. Vigor back fourth the inside. 2 lengths further back is Sniper's Bullet on the inside of Von Costa to Hero. Triple Honour at the 800 now. And So You Think narrowly from Eagle Falls on his outside. A length and a half to Vigor. He enjoys a good run, as does Walking or Dancing. Next is Sniper's Bullet in the orange colours when they neared the corner from All American. Rightfully Yours at Von Costa to Hero. They're followed then by King Mufasa, Red Lord as they swing for home. All American well back and still well back. Gold Salute on the inside rail. So You Think first for home. He leads by a length and a half. From Vigor getting away from the rail. Eagle Falls beaten off. Rightfully Yours and Walking or Dancing are coming at the 300. So You Think by 3 lengths. They haven't got near to him yet. Here comes All American starting to finish off from Rightfully Yours. And then Black Piranha. So You Think in front. All American's a big danger. Oh, he mows him down on the last bit, All American, and sprints away. All American by 2.5. So You Think. Gold Salute flashes home. He'll probably get the third from Black Piranha. And further back then, Road to Rock, Rightfully Yours, Sniper's Bullet, Vigor, Chinchilla Rose, and behind them is Triple Honour. A break then, Walking or Dancing didn't go on from King Mufasa, and their trail behind these to finish was the weakening Eagle Falls, and Red Lord is second last, and well, Von Costa to Heroes just virtually walked across the first for home. He leads by a length and a half from Vigor getting away from the rail. Eagle Falls beaten off. Rightfully Yours and Walking or Dancing are coming at the 300. So You Think by 3 lengths. They haven't got near to him yet. Here comes All American starting to finish off from Rightfully Yours, and then Black Piranha. So You Think in front. All American's a big danger. Oh, he mows him down on the last bit, All American, and sprints away. All American by 2.5. So You Think. Gold Salute flashes home. He'll probably get the...
Well, he hasn't won since his 2-year-old days. But Corey Brown has. He won the Derby Saturday, he won the Cup on Tuesday, and he's won the Emirates today. And David Hayes, well, he's had a run of outs, that's for sure, but not here. Look, he looked home here, So You Think. It was a mighty run. It was a brilliant run by the 3-year-old. Trying to do it all the way, but another stallion, a year older, just blouses him here.
He's never been able to produce this sort of effort this spring. His last run in the Crystal Mile was nothing like it. This is a major turnaround in form for All American.
But lucky for Corey and probably fall back the fence. It's having no luck. I thought Von Costa, the Hero, would take off a bit earlier. I staked him up as soon as we straightened and sort of run up their backsides, and then lucky enough I got the runs late, and it was all over once he got through.
It really looked like very...
Going for the railway. These cocks are pretty hard to get in form. When they're in form, I think we should keep marching on. That's $1 million over in Perth.
Everything else that
he paid a little less on the tote, $30.30 and $7.20. There's all the multiples on screen. Trifecta 937 of the first 4.
Well, only a 4th career win for All American, his first since his 2-year-old, the Skyline Stakes, but a valuable one. And the big prices in the Emirates Stakes continue, especially for Hayes. Planet Ruler 30 to 1, Primacy 20, Seascape 50 to 1. It's been a blowout race. The Tears Eye Cries, and so on. Corey Brown gets his 3rd big Group 1. So You Think. Brave, the Cox Plate winner. We'll discuss Boss shortly. Rightfully Yours, red at the start, lost ground. Gold slow to begin. Eagle Falls, distressed when it came back without a tongue tie, but he was on song yesterday, Steve, and that's something that hasn't gone his way in the past.
No, it's can often be a recurring theme in this race, isn't it? The winner is down in the weights and drawn inside and gets the cover all the way, and that's exactly what happened, even though he was momentarily held up at around the 300. The race just fell into place for him, I think, to some degree. Yesterday, Herculean performance from the runner-up. So you think he ran 1:8.2 from the 1400 to the 200, which was absolutely flying. Look, I'm not sure that I'd be too critical of Bossy. He did get a couple of soft ones between the 8 and the 4, 11.7 and an 11.9, and I'm just not sure where he was going to finish up.
Well, that's right, Rich. If you look at early in the race, he was going to be 3 deep. And if he sat 3 deep, he's rightfully criticised. He went forward, as he did in the Cox Plate, when he was going to be 3 deep there.
Bossy makes decisions. Look, I think Bart wanted him to get cover, but I don't think he was too upset when he went to the front.
And a couple of terrific runs behind, of course, Gold Salute and Black Piranha carrying the top weight, 57. Both cracking late sectionals, Gold Salute ridden for luck, and I think he did the right thing. But it just didn't quite unfold for him, and he probably head to the west too, perhaps.
What do you think he'll do with Von Costa de Hero? Officially change his name, would you?
Let's a little bit aggressive. Again, but I was looking desperately to try and get some cover, but he sort of didn't want to have a part of it again, so I had to go forward. And probably just a little bit more agitated today than what he was at the Valley. A little bit on the toe and a bit fresher. But he's still running his heart out. He's a great horse. Yeah, just his manners in the next month.
In saying that, like the win was really good because he was getting pushed around significantly from about the 900 metre mark. And Corey, as he stated, he had a little bit of trouble weaving between horses and things like that. Look, we've always known that he's had a lot of ability. We saw him perform at the best level as a baby. But they just catch you by surprise on that particular day, and they probably were very, very happy. But irrespective of that, look, I've got to be honest, I love Glenn, but I'm very critical of his ride. I thought he was too aggressive going out of the gates. From the 1400 to the 12, he actually broke 11 seconds. That's where the damage was started. Then he's been happy to sort of roll along in front, and that's fine. You expect a reasonable tempo at Group 1 level. But then at the top of the straight, he opened him up far too early. And I don't care how good you are, when you're running splits like that, one split is detrimental at the best level. And I'm sorry, I have to be critical of Glenn. He hasn't done much wrong, but I thought he got that one wrong. And I suppose the thing about it too, he's a 3-year-old colt, and that race may damage his future in terms of a psychological point of view. Now they might have to take the blinkers off to try and get him to settle effectively.
Look, I've got to agree with the last thing Alf said there. First of all, let's talk about All-American. He's raced at the highest level all his life. He's always been in the best races, and he's never been far away. So, that race does have a habit of throwing up, long-priced horses, but he certainly has always shown he's had enough ability to compete at that level. So I don't think that's any surprise. You said about I think Bart does have a task ahead of him here, and no better man to have the task, by the way. But how much that horse, it surprised him in the Cox Plate, leading like that. Never done it before. He shocked them. They all got bamboozled, and he won like a very, very good horse, which I think he is, because a very good horse, it had to be a very good horse to do what he did yesterday. But he can't outsmart them anymore. They've all seen him lead and win. He's already in a crossover noseband. I think he's in a pretty severe bit already. How are you going to get that horse to come back in a field, say, wait for age racing, where they'll often jog and accelerate? How are you going to get him to do that? And then once you're a guaranteed leader, they all know the game. You're a sitting duck all the time. So I think Bart's got a task ahead of him there, but he's the bloke to handle it, by the way.
I must comment on the winner as well. He got the job done, and he'll probably go to the railway in Perth now. And now that he's got that confidence-building win on his side, he's a chance of going on with the job. Maybe that Waterford Crystal Mile might be a strong form race, the Rangi-Rang-Do race, because this horse ran in it, and also Raffaello, who won earlier in the day, ran in that race as well. But I still think the second horse is an absolute superstar, and I think he's still work in progress. Glenn said, I heard him after the race say, I was looking for cover 3 deep with cover. I don't think that's the case. Looking at the give up is the helicopter shot when you come out aggressive in the barrier.
Queensland Oaks winner, set a Storm Queen winner too, and she was just so...
City missed the leader. Moment in time, I think, and Purple get the perfect trails.
All right on start time there, and the mare's just about to be loaded up for the Matriarch Stakes. A great race for the mares, many going on at stud. And a fine collection of mares here, a lot of them by or out of group performers themselves, a lot of the dams of these horses taking part.
Okay. Silver City Miss away very quickly on the inside. A stay from out wide has been snagged and goes over towards the tail of the field. Purple away quickly, and Lady Lynette is up there, and she's looking for a piece of the lead in the early part. She's sitting up outside Silver City Miss for the time being. Purple's 2.5 lengths away third, and Glow Lamp is fourth on the and Ladies in Luck at a stay. The last two as the Matriarch field is on the turn for home. They're inside the 600, and the leader is going to be Silver City Miss around the home turn narrowly from Glow Lamp on the outside. Lady Lynette poised for a run. Let's see if she'll run the 2,000 out. Further back, Moment in Time. Purple coming with a run, and then Pravana coming through near the inside. And further away, Bashful Girl. Silver City Miss with a kick led by a length and a half. Moment in Time. Now Purple and Lady Lynette, they're both going for the run between horses, and they're coming after the leader. It's Moment in Time who finds the lead. Purple, Lady Lynette, Silver City Miss is kicking back. Four of these mares fighting out the race. Lady Lynette and Purple. Purple and Lady Lynette go to the line. And, oh, gee, that is close. Purple, Lady Lynette, in Moment in Time, came back again on the outside. And Silver City Miss continued to kick. She'll get fourth on the inner. They're followed by Pravana, Bashful Girl, and a break then to Prima Nova, Glow Lamp, keeping score, Estee, Ladies in Luck, and Louboutin as last. Another fabulous finish. Lynette, they're both going for the run between horses, and they're coming after the leader. It's Moment in Time who finds the lead. Purple, Lady Lynette, Silver City Miss is kicking back. Four of these mares fighting out the race. Lady Lynette and Purple. Purple and Lady Lynette go to the line. And, oh, gee, that is close. Purple, Lady Lynette, and Moment in Time came back again on the outside, and Silver City Miss.
She looked like she was beaten 3 times, so Purple gets it. Moment in Time and Lady Lynette. And the lead change.
Patricia family coming through with the Lonrose and those sorts of horses too. So over 30 odd years, it's quite amazing. They're still winning group races.
And he's been prepared to pick his mark, Peter Snowden, with a couple of these horses, and it's played.
Runner 1, 2 more races on the program here at Flemington. We'll take a break, then we'll head back to Randwick.
Silver City Miss.
Fantastic finish. Went the way of Darley's runner with the full penalties here in purple. Ran the favourite 420. Heavily back in the race was Pravana. You can have it. Bookie's horse. Moment in Time is going well. Blinkers back on. Worked yesterday. Later, and that's just flying for Smurden. Nicole, there he is again in the mix. Terrific race, Steve.
Certainly was, Bruce, and it ran true to form as the mares do at the top level. Well, how good does Silver City Miss go if the inside was off? I'm not sure that the inside was off. I think the absolute premium spot was probably about 2 horses off the fence in the straight. And, of course, Matty Pumper on Silver City Miss sort of tried to get out there, but as the others rallied, he was sort of pushed back towards the inside, but nothing between them. The first 4, and they're all very good mares.
Now she's a dry tracker, Rich.
Wasn't it long ago that we were saying she was an absolute and no winner won along the fence in the
Well, you got
last
Rail
3
went
days.
from 0 to 2 to 5 to 8.
I'm not a track manager, but there was obviously something that no jockey wanted to be near the fence on the last 3 days of the carnival, particularly Cup Day. The jockeys I spoke to yesterday all concurred it wasn't the place to be. But on this race, gee, she's a tough girl, isn't she? And hasn't that other girl tough girl, isn't she? And hasn't that other girl stepped up, Lady Lynette? Like, she's just taken every step that Smurden's put in front of her.
Let's go to
the program. The Queen Elizabeth Stakes, always a great race here during the Flemington Carnival. Short on the tote, 260.
Yep, certainly is. They bet better than that here on track. 270 out to 320, and that's been taken back into 310. There's the tote odds on screen. Fairly consistent for number 1, Hissing Sid. We'll just let you know what's happening on track as we scroll through those. He's $8 on track. The Sportsman Actions Hole. She'll be a fantastic, great lineup of Breeders' Cup Actions Hole. Look forward to seeing that on Tuesday night.
Oh, we'll make a big deal of that, and of course a full review of the Melbourne Cup Carnival as well. We've got some great.
Hume from the middle of the line, or closer to the inside, was one of the first to show. Alexander of Hales is showing some speed. There's the Sportsman, booted out of the barrier with Storm Hill, and from wide barriers they're going forward with Alexander of Hales, Sterling Prince and Big Cole. So they make their way out of the straight. They're inside the 2200 in the Queen Elizabeth now. Hume is settling midfield, and it's Alexander of Hales holding out the lead from the Sportsman. Storm Hill between them third, and a length and a half away then Sterling, 1200 metres. Alexander of Hales has the field stretched out over plenty of territory, leading a length and a half to Storm Hill. 3 lengths away then the Sportsman. 5 lengths then to Sterling Prince. He's just battling to stay in touch with this hot pace. 3 lengths further back is Big Cole. Bellagio win the rail, and then Hume tucked in on the inside. Lodge the Deeds was next. Followed across the start, 1.5 lengths to Hurang, and she's followed by Bit Spotter. Hissing said Super Cool, Britomart, and they're trailed as they sweep to the corner then by Nothing Like a Cat and Naval Escort. They're starting to bunch a little bit as the leaders come back, and Alexander of Hales cornering in front of Storm Hill. The Sportsman wider out. Sterling Prince next from Big Cole. Wider then Lodge the Deeds. Bellagio winners making plenty of ground, getting right through on the inside behind the leader and about to get a split and then cross the start. And Lodge the Deeds was next at the 250-metre mark, and Sterling Prince races to the lead. Hume has come through the pack, crossed the start, running on. Sterling Prince in front, 1.5 lengths, crossed the start, and then came Hume. It's Sterling Prince in front on tired legs, but 2 lengths in front, and Sterling Prince, a sterling winner from cross the start. Photos for third. Naval Escort, Hume on the inside, Hissing Sit out wide late, and they're followed by the tail of the field.
It was a sterling gallop. Gee, it was a cracking race, a fast pace set up by Alexander of Hales. The query on Sterling Prince has been whether he'll get the trip. He's ran 5th in the Lexus when he led. He was 3rd in the Geelong Cup. Look, he's been placed in Group 1 weight for age races this preparation in New Zealand, and here he pinched a break with Hugh Bowman. It was whether he could hang on or not.
Yeah, it's nice to see a race run at a proper tempo. Is what I'm more used to. And I think Alexander of Hales was setting that because he doesn't have that turn of foot the others might have. But it probably played into Sterling Prince's hands. You know, he was the last one off the bridle, and then he came off the bridle and just showed them a clean pair of hips.
Of course, the octagonal 8-carat family out of a £1 sterling there. Doesn't get much more New Zealand than that, Sterling Prince.
Well, New Zealander Cape cover last year. New Zealander Sterling Prince has been racing well in Melbourne, backing up from the Lexus. It's good odds there. He did a good job, Sterling Prince. He's nom for Hong Kong. The trainer there, Wayne Hillis.
Not sure what to make of all of this. I thought he had every chance the week before in the Lexus, off the fence, and I suppose the ground firmer by the time this race was run than it was early in the day when they ran the Lexus. He was pretty solid, track 2 firm for Bid Spotter, said Karen McAvoy. Lodge the Deeds was Gallop.
Carnival for Corey. Congratulations to the VRC. Another faultless carnival. It has to be one of the best carnivals in the world.
And you know, the highlight of the Melbourne Cup, it's any trainer, it's the highlight for them. Doesn't matter, you know, doesn't matter what other race you win, that is still the highlight race for any trainer's career. But, you know, he had a wonderful carnival. Corey had a wonderful carnival.
Didn't he? Yeah.
The performance of the carnival for me, I think, came on the last day. To see All Silent do what he did. It was phenomenal what he did.
The Heffernan Stakes and Lucky Secret. Well, $1.60 odds on all totes, $2.25 and freely offered here. Doesn't mean there's been money.
Yeah, when it is in good condition, I think it races perfectly well. The races are determined, I think, 99 times out of 100 by tempo. There's very rarely any significant bias at Sandown when the track's good.
And the Kevin Heffernan sprint field is ready. Racing now. And a couple that were a bit slow there, Diplomatic Force, Shadoways and the Grey Cocoa Tycoon, and Lucky Secret away, and he comfortably finds the lead from News Alert on the inside of Posados, who's up there second. About 3 lengths further back is Falaise. Diplomatic Force a length further away. And then 2 length Shadow at the 600 metres now, and coming around the home turn, it's Lucky Secret about a half only on Posados the outside, and right behind him is the stablemate Falaise, who eases out. News Alert stays close to the inside, and they're clear then from Shadowways, Diplomatic Force, Cocoa Tycoon. Inside the 400 metres, Lucky Secret still being held together only narrowly. Posados on his outside. News Alert the fence about a length and a half away, and then Diplomatic Force. Falaise is not going on. 150 to go. This is the grey area, but Lucky Secret responds really well. He's a half length in front of Posados. He's hanging on, and he'll get the 1300, no worries. Lucky Secret beating Posados. Photo for third. Between Falaise and Diplomatic Force from Shadowways, and then Cocoa Tycoon and News Alert last in.
Well, too classy, Lucky Secret. $2 on Super, 2 New South Wales, 210 Unitab, 230 Top Fluck into 220. Control wanted to go a bit keen for Nash mid-race, rolls off 2-3 off the fence, place to be. I think it's a case of too much class and those chasing not good enough, and that will get you 60 SP, 220 beats Posadas. No third for Diplomatic Force. They're running ordinary bunch behind. Well, handy bunch, but he's a different class. He's off to either New Zealand, Dubai, Ascot or the Moon. Either of those options are there for him. Lucky Secret out of the race. Diplomatic Force pulled up with heat stress. Darren Gauci said News Alert change stride up the straight. You can see the horse on the inside in the white blinkers, but disappointing. But just too good for them, Steve.
Yeah, well, he was, Bruce. I mean, he's building an imposing record, and given that he was left alone in front and then Nash was able to nurse until the 100-metre mark, that was enough to get him through at the 1300. Not a great lineup. Diplomatic Force was okay. As you said, he was feeling the effects of the heat a little bit. He might be freshened up and have a crack at a Christmas handicap or something like that.
Yeah.
But he's cheap. You'd love to own Lucky Secret, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Richie. Down Guineas here at Betfair Park, where we've got a short price favourite in Kidnap.
Form from the Carbine Club this year probably is the superior form going into the Guineas. Kidnap beat Disco Summit there, of course. Turf Express won on Protest Stakes Day. Cascura's a little bit of wild card. I guess the stablemate to the favourite. I'm not sure that the form is quite strong enough around the other males. And then you've got the filly, as you can see there, 950, Majestic Music on Super Tab. Well, that's generous compared to what's available here on track.
Well,
around the
I'll tell you why. Kidnap's $1.20. Do you want to take fives on Kidnap?
Sort of 4 or 5 coming to the point of the turn, balance through the dip. I think he'll just pick them up. I think he's got the turn of foot and he's got the strength at the
100 for the 3-year-olds. Group 2. All set. Up now. And the starters caught them quite well. And let's see, the favourite Kidnapped away in about third placing as his stablemate Kazkura goes to the lead. Turf Express on the outside, Kidnapped in the middle, settling down between those leaders. And then 2 lengths Disco Summit on the inside. Majestic Music, the filly, is his outer. A break of 3 lengths for the Kazkura by 2.5 lengths. Turf Express running second on the outside. Kidnapped on the fence a half a length away. 2 Majestic Music, Disco Summit. And then second last Absolute Soda and Silver Spur a length and a half away. Kazkura coming around the home turn at the 600. Turf Express a length away second. Kidnapped 2 lengths away, edges away from the inside to get into a position where he can pounce on them out wider. Majestic Music came a little bit deeper, and then Silver Spur, Disco Summit getting up near the inside, and Absolute Soda. Kazkura 400 left to go. Kidnapped is coming after him and just about pocketed Turf Express, who's trying to push through, gets through in the middle, but Majestic Music is right there to threaten, and Silver Spur's winding up now, but Majestic Music race to Kidnap. He's got a fight on his hands here. Majestic Music and Kidnap come away. Kidnap fights on tenaciously, and Kidnap by a head on the line. Majestic Music, one of the great finishes in the Guineas. 3 lengths clear of maybe Turf Express, although Silver Spur is pretty close up for the third place. Just behind those then Disco Summit and Kazkura, who weakens out an Absolute Soda last in. Great finish to the Guineas, and Kidnapped proving a shade too strong.
Off the canvas to win for the favourite here, Kidnapped at 2.10. Look done by Majestic Music. They got pretty close. It was on the day one. Wasn't overly impressive. Doesn't have to be. Numbers in the frame. Job done.
Probably depends on how you tell us that they didn't go at breakneck speed as we have a look at the totes on screen. 180, 120. Pretty consistent across the board.
It's the good girl, Kidnapped, brave, out of his comfort zone, still too strong. Part of a very strong team of 3-year-olds for Daly, Peter Snowden and Karen McAvoy. Got the job done, not brilliantly, but job done. Success in the Sandown Guineas back-to-back after Caymans last year. Majestic Music was great and they dominated the race. It was a good stoush.
It was a good stoush, a terrific performance from this winner who is simply a winner. I think that's the bottom line with Kidnapped, and he's still relatively immature, I suspect. I think he'll come back a better horse, although we did touch on the point yesterday that Sandown Guineas winners don't have a tremendous record going on. Last year's winner, the stablemate Caymans, is in Dubai and has suffered some sort of eye injury, and we'll see those horses, the Daly horses from Australia, race there in the next month.
There for this preparation, and he's done a very good job. He had to go to Sandown, downhill. Some horses don't cope with it. He managed to. I was sort of more disappointed with his stablemate, Kazkura, that was sort of just put under a bit of pressure.
He's a class act at placing his horses. He set this horse for the Carbine and this race, the Guineas, and it's paid off. He just picked the right horse and picked the right targets. I'm not convinced he's any star, although the stable do speak highly of him.
I like him. I think he's tough. Coolmelbourne.org. That's the betting for the Sandown Classic. And in the ring, it's $3.40 about Scenic Shot and backed in from $3.50. Zipping again for the 3, $4.20 at the 4.6. One Master O'Reilly is 6 out to 7, down to Raffaello at 9. Missed 5 out to 6. That's the betting. Scenic Shot money bet. They said that was horrible. We might get a quick chat with Rich. quickly, Rich, before they go. Is Sporting Bet Market Mover 3 Scenic Shot. Rich, fantastic.
So that's the action from the ring. Clearly Scenic Shot. Some support for Zipping and Purple.
Okay, Lee is set and Zipping going for an unprecedented 3 in a row. Comes up 2,400 metres and wait for age. Set to go in the Classic. They're off now. Starter caught them pretty well. And zipping away nicely near the outside. Raffaello is easing over in company with him, and they settle towards the end. Zarita and Purple are the first couple to show out. Master O'Reilly's right up there, and there's Miss Darcy coming across as well. So down to the judge now, and the mares are first and second. It's Purple in front. Miss Darcy is second, 2 lengths Zarita, so they're 1, 2, 3, the girls. In behind them in fourth placing is Master O'Reilly. And to go now to Raffaello, Ice Chariot, and a length and a half away is Zipping and Miss Marin last on the rail. Purple the leader, uncontested as she ran down the back straight. Miss Darcy is running second. Zarita a length and a half away, and on her outside then is Master O'Reilly. A length and a half further back is Scenic Shot, still tucked away with nowhere to go at the moment. Sailor Gear keeps him pocketed. Then Raffaello, here comes Zipping. He starts his move now, and he's quickly going around the field. Miss Marin tries to get onto his back to start a move. Purple leading narrowly. They've bunched up. Then here's Zipping. Well, he's come right around the field, and he's going to hit the front before the home turn today. So Zipping out wide, really livened up the Classic. Hits the front from Purple, coming back on the inside. Master O'Reilly is in the middle. They're followed further back then by Miss Marin coming down the outside. Zarita and Raffaello's coming up on the inside. Purple came back at the 400. Zipping is still there on her outside. They're fighting out the race at the moment. Miss Marin running on, and Master O'Reilly from Zarita. Purple still in front, Zipping coming back at her on the outside, clear of Master O'Reilly, Zipping and Purple. Zipping's coming home the better. Zipping, a three-peat, a magnificent effort. Zipping has got the money from Purple by a long head. Falling away, Master O'Reilly, Scenic Shot. They're followed further back by Raffaello, Miss Marin. Back behind them is Zarita, Miss Darcy, and then Sailor Gear. And last to finish is Ice Chariot.
Well, that's brilliant. The first horse to win this race 3 times in its 122-year history. Michael Rod got it right, just. He took off a long way from home. He was pleased he got the result, but that's what jockeys in form do. They make things happen, and it worked for him. And Michael, that was good. The decision to ride the horse, that was good. They get the result. That was good.
I think the ride might have been the most brilliant you've seen for a long, long time. There's no doubt when we see Purple finish where she does, if he sits back and rides this horse like he rode it last year, I don't think it's got any hope.
Yep.
Fantastic ride. Put him into the race, and he's just outstayed Purple at the finish. She was brave. She's faced the breeze all the way doing the work. Master O'Reilly's run his typical race, but the first two dominated.
Yeah, well, here for Team Williams, a big day for Rob Hickmott. His first day as the trainer, 2 wins for him, and Lord Williams
2, 9, 1 and 3. Slow time overall, Bruce, as we have a look at the totes, which suggests to me that the splits will say they weren't going, and Michael Rod had to go when he did. 4.
To decide they won't be talking to TVN because...
But Lloyd, if you're watching, what a load of nonsense. You've employed a new man at the helm who comes from a strong racing family background. Are you suggesting that somehow or other you control our ability to speak to him at any time, even to ask him about his personal background, his family history, his life working for you, his rise through the ranks? He's now having the most joyous day of his racing career. He's trained the winner of this feature race for you, and what, we don't get to know anything about him? It's just silly.
And Michael Rod,
just silly.
And Michael Rod won't be talking either. He's been gagged as well.
Well, it's just absolutely absurd, but I think, and you're insulting. In the process, it's an insult to the punting public. It's an insult.
To go 3 years in a row, and a brilliant tactical ride for Michael Rod, who made things happen from the 800-metre mark. Purple was outstanding in defeat. Master O'Reilly brave again. Won up more than $2.5 million, this 8-year-old Zipping, yet to win a Group 1. That's an amazing stat in itself. But it was a terrific performance, a great race. We might touch on Purple shortly, but let's concentrate on this very good winner, Zipping. A war horse and too good.
Certainly was, Bruce. At the end of a 1.5 mile race, he ran his last 1,000 metres in 57 seconds, and it was a brilliant ride from Michael Rod. They ran the first 1,200 metres in 1:19.6 and the second in 1:12 and a tick. Had he sat back, he couldn't have won this race. It's as simple as that. And he assessed what was going on, rolled the dice, and a fantastic ride from Michael Rod.
And Rich, sorry, so to run 33.5, you can't, in a 1.5 mile race, the last 3, you can't be more than a length off the lead.
Yeah. I think that they worked the tactics out with him that you've got to, when you go, you keep going because he hits a flat spot in his races. We saw that when he came back and ran third in the Cox Plate when he looked all out of play there. Here, he just kept rolling and rolling. A Danehill 8-year-old, he's the last of the Danehills, and to keep him in this sort of form, and it's a great testament to Mount Macedon, really.
Well, he's a great 2,400 metre horse. And if I'd owned him over the years, he'd have been overseas somewhere running in one of the great 2,400 metre races because I think that's what he is. He's a great mile-and-a-half horse.
And Michael Rod, fantastic. I mean, that's a great way for Michael to wrap up his carnival. He had the choice of it, Raffaello, to Lord Williams, who is the owner, of course, of Zipping. Nick's his son. Steve Moran went into a tirade, disagree with that, and said it was a disgrace that TVN could not talk to the new trainer, that is Rob Hickmott. This was made after the first race. I am sick to death of him, said Lloyd of Steve. I am over him. He's been having a go at me for 8 years. I spent 50 years putting money into racing, and I don't have to sit here and listen to that. The trainer is an employee. I'm the chairman. That's the way it is. So be it. Well, let's go through this before we get to Steve. Now, no one will doubt the availability of Lloyd Williams to the media here in Victoria. You can ring Lloyd at any time. He's most accommodating to the media, and we certainly appreciate him for that. And with Steve, Lloyd, don't take it out on everybody else, and don't exclude Michael Rod. I thought Steve's entitled to opinion. He's a commentator. He made a comment. If you don't accept it, that's fine. What we don't accept here is that you precluded Michael Rod, one of the faces of the Spring Carnival, from talking to not TVN. We're just a conduit to the people. And Michael Rod was most embarrassed by what was forced upon him yesterday. Steve, I know you've been drawn in the middle of it because of comments you made. I think they've been blown right out of where they should sit in the scheme of things.
Well, the initial comments I made yesterday after they won the first race was hardly a tirade. First up, we're not talking about someone, intervening with a cure for cancer, so let's not get too carried away. Don't compare it to the corporate world. It's entirely different because this business is funded by hundreds of thousands of people in the street, not a handful of major investors. The logical extension of this, if the major participants, i.e. the trainers, don't speak to us, people will lose interest in this business. If you're sitting at home watching the footy, you never heard from the players or the coaches, you'd pretty quickly turn off the coverage. Nick Williams this morning has appeared on the other show. Well, that's a bit like Geelong won the flag and stay tuned, we've got the president's son to talk to you, not the coach or the trainer. Lloyd has been inclined, for all his passion, and he employs a lot of people. I certainly wouldn't ever want to jeopardise that. But he has been inclined to treat this industry with contempt. I've got my Miller's Guide here. It shows Graham Rogerson as the trainer of the Melbourne Cup winner. Well, we all know that's just not right. He wasn't very frank when he was asked about efficient in the lead up to the Cup. But the bottom line here is you've got to promote this business. And I think it ought to become a condition of the licence. They must speak to the industry-owned network immediately after they win a race. We get tremendous cooperation from 99.9% of the people involved. And because you can't compare this to the corporate world, but Hickey, I wouldn't know him if I walked down the street.
The third year in a row. Now, any race stuff, that's an outstanding performance.
Oh, unbelievable. He's been well looked after, this horse, and he's just come through with the goods again there. And like we spoke about earlier, it was just a perfect ride by Rod. And look, McAvoy did nothing wrong on purple. When you're leading and coming home in 33.3 and get beat, you've done nothing wrong in a staying race.
It was a great ride. The credit I give Michael Rod is he knew what pace they were going. A lot of jockeys aren't really certain how fast they're going, and he knew they were going slow enough, and he knew he had to take off early. In a faster run race, that's a suicide tactic, but in a slow run race, it was a great move.
Well, we've got a special guest.
Really never let us down, this horse. You'd love to have a stable full of them. I was actually, before I came in here, I was thinking about it, and I guess in Dad's career in racing, which probably spans 45 or 50 years now, he's been lucky enough to have 3 horses like this, I reckon. It's Zipping and Gallic in this era, and then you go back to the 70s, probably, and a great old horse called Nearest.
How concerned were you after the incident at Flemington going into yesterday's event?
Personally, I was very concerned. I'd been up at Macedon on the Tuesday after Derby Day, and we'd put him in the barriers and had the barrier attendants from Racing Victoria up there to help us out. And he was perfect. But you just wonder what's caused an 8-year-old to play up in the barriers for the first time like he did. And you just, I guess, yes.
He's a great horse, and usually there's a plan with him year to year, and there's a process he goes through. But the facts are that he is 8 now, and look, do you have to start and seriously look at a race in Sydney like the BMW with him now? That's a little bit sooner.
Yeah, well, there's the BMW, or there might even be the Australian Cup in Melbourne. He's a big track horse. I don't, he hasn't travelled for such a long time. He's 8. I'm not sure about Sydney, but I'm not sure about taking on Peter Snowden's mare in the autumn. I think with this little break, she might improve a bit more. I think she's a mighty horse, isn't she? Hasn't he done a great job with her, or with all? It would look. We thought the McKinnon was his Group 1. We thought he deserved a Group 1. And obviously he had that unfortunate incident. Maybe he's one of those horses that's destined never to win one, but they're just genuine.
Yeah. Is he the last of the Dane Hills zipping? Is he in the last?
Yeah, he's it. Yeah.
He might be the last group winner we ever see by Dane Hill.
I think he will be in this part of the world.
Now, also, there's been a little bit of conjecture over media bans in recent times too. We're reading in the paper this morning, Nick.
I'm not aware of that. Something's happened, has it? No, look, I think it's fair to say that be me more than Dad, to be honest, took exception to some comments made yesterday after we had a winner in the first by a gentleman on TVN. I don't begrudge anyone for having an opinion, but that it was pointed out that to me that it had been said on TV and they didn't really want to hear from Nick Williams, so I let them have what they wanted.
Surely, Nick, they should have expected, it's common knowledge that your trainers don't speak anyway. John Sadler didn't speak. Even you quietened Graham Rogerson up for not speaking about your horse.
That was a battle.
That's the greatest achievement.
Look, in all seriousness, we run a fairly large business, not just in racing, but in the economic world. And the Hudson Conway Group, it's very simple. Lloyd Williams speaks, and if Lloyd Williams isn't available, Nick Williams speaks. You don't hear from our general manager of construction who holds a building licence. I'll give you 20 guesses to name his name. And it's the same at most corporations in the corporate world. The proprietors, the chief executive, or the chairman speak, and that's we have a corporate structure in place that's different to most stables, and that's the way we choose to run it. It's hard to go past having any obligation to talk to those certain outlets, but we are available to anyone, and I think we
expect that. But do you think you went overboard in silencing the jockey yesterday, or was that just a one-off?
No, I didn't silence the jockey. I just said to the jockey quite simply. I said, let's TVN don't want to hear from us, so let's not talk to them.
Okay.
All right. The jockey spoke to every other media outlet, as did I.